Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, Dum Dum. You got a Dum Dum for
So,
us? Give us a.
hello, dum dum. So pretty much what that's Artie Lang's doing Harvey Korman and the Great Gazoo in the Flintstones. I think it's the best character on the whole show. Him and Arnold the Paperboy. All you paperboys empathize with Arnold's plight.
Well, Artie has feelings about a lot of
You
things.
can't live in show business like that. You have to be dishonest. Does Gary like Gina Gershon? No. But
Oh my God. Oh,
How
what
are
a weird
you?
name to bring up. I like Gina Gershon. That's not the name I
Yeah.
would have used there, but I get what he's saying.
He got the laugh at the end, man. He
Yeah.
always nailed that, didn't he? How are you, John? How are
Good,
you?
good, good. I want to ask you a question before we go, and I'm not fishing for anything. I just now that you kind of like in the Monique chair for 2 weeks, our 2 weeks. What are you kind of glad? You must. My first thought is you doing this. How could with all the options we have in the media landscape with podcasts and radio shows, why on earth would somebody listen to this, especially at that time slot?
Man, you couldn't.
Right.
It's depressing. I've said it many times. It's slow. It's very tiring. It's very good that it starts at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. here at night because I can just go to sleep. The vibe of it has become so
The energy.
calm that there
Right.
aren't even really people ever screaming even now. It's so you can fall asleep. You're done. And as a normal person like who used to like him. Oh, there's nothing left. You get these very little glimpses, like yesterday with Fred and the check, that you
Yeah,
go,
yeah, yeah. And then
yeah,
you were because we've lowered our expectations so much that you dry hump on something that's so typical of the show back in the day that if anything rears its head now, like oh my god, a real moment of conversation and repartee, it's crazy, and we give it way too much credit because we've lowered our expectations. There is no bottom to the show, and it's just
and
so
they,
easy to say
yeah,
it sucks. It gets worse and worse and worse, but there is truly no bottom.
they won't sink. Yeah, it keeps going lower, and when you get multiple Trump impersonators just arguing and they're laughing like that's hysterical, you're sinking and sinking. And this morning we got Arse Napkin Ed. I mean, and
Yeah.
Howard had to dump him because it was just like,
You
wow,
thought you'd
this
never hear
guy.
from him again. Like he's an old whackpacker that somehow was able to slip his way into the contemporary show. You would think Marcy would manipulate Howard into distancing himself from the ass napkin heads of the world, right? How is that
That's right.
evolving that he still gets on the show? He doesn't
Yeah,
because he can't. He's not capable of evolving. He's too stupid and lazy to evolve. You know what I mean? Like if you were to do a show that was somewhat cerebral and you just I would have so much, but he wants it both ways. You can't have ass napkin Ed on and evolve. That has to go too. But he's too lazy
yeah.
to go away from it. Mike
What
White,
do you?
thank you for the context. So right, I kind of don't remember this. This is a great reference by Mike White. Already said Gina Gershon because Gary just kissed her ass in the hallway off mic, so that must have been on the wrap-up show, and so she must have shuffled by, and then Gary ran out and kissed her ass. Okay, okay, that must be like an old wrap-up show. I'm assuming. I'm
Good
assuming.
work. Good work, Mike.
Yeah,
And
that Matt Phillips says people just listen out of habit because that's what they've always listened to. I don't know, Matt. Matt, I think that he works 1/4 of the year, if that. Isn't that habit broken, or shouldn't you have broken the habit? We were talking about when we're coming back, like when he takes 3 months off, you would think like people are just like they're just you're running. You've already lost viewers, listeners in droves. You run the risk of more people finding more shit to listen to while you're not there. You have 3 months to find. There's not thousands, a million different podcasts for Christ's sake that are better than. I mean, virtually every show on Sirius. I'm amazed when I listen to anything, even like a sports show. I say to myself, there's passion, there's phone callers, there's real moments. Look at Christopher Russo, who you've heard on the show, Bond. Like he was part of the Joe Buck thing that you helped produce. The
oh
Joe,
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
very good show. I really, really think we did a nice job on that show, and as obviously you did. And he was a very germane to that show, Christopher Russo. The guy does a show by himself. He takes nothing but callers. They're all real. He has like two. He's got a call screener and a producer, and that's it. And the guy is, I think, 3 years younger than Howard, and he's
Hmm.
passionate. He does it every day, does it 5 days a week. Like that's a real radio guy,
Yeah.
and
So you
says
don't need
controversial things.
You don't need 70 employees.
No, no.
But Howard would say, well, we do comedy. Well, do you want to answer to
It's
that?
all it's all subjective, and he doesn't have to call a show any. He calls a show comedy when it's convenient, when he wants to back out of something, when he doesn't want to take accountability for something, when he doesn't want to take a topic seriously. You would say, oh well, no, I didn't laugh at all today. You could say comedy because it's so subjective that anybody could call themselves a comedy show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a word that really could define any idiot. If you get one little chuckle, you can call yourself a comedy show. You're allowed to.
Yeah. We could call this a comedy show,
Yeah.
but I don't call it a
Yeah.
comedy show. I wouldn't call it a comedy show. But
The show is what Howard wants. That they'll see them slip when they get angry and people call them on how bad the content is, and Howard will just lose it and he'll just go, the show is whatever I want it to be. Because you ask what kind, I've asked this question since we started doing the show. It's whatever he wants it to be. So it's this kind of closeted homosexual, washed up, spoiled Veals version of whatever he dilly dallies with that day. And the red flag list goes on and on. He has all these unmentionables you can't bring up, and the more unmentionables are, the worse transparency there is. And he won't talk about his 1%er life, and it gets just, there's no way you could do a good show with those stipulations. There's always a new thing he can't talk about. Every week there's a new thing that's just out of, he won't tackle. He won't engage in feuds. He won't take current events on. I didn't listen today, but I assume the Brazilian murderer, he could have brought it up in real time and didn't, or something.
he did. I thought he didn't, but I posted Robin. Well, I can just kick it right now because it's so short. It's so funny that something happens that they could actually talk about live, and they talk about it for probably 10 seconds.
Breaking news.
I know, I just heard. Go ahead, you announce it, Robin.
The fugitive has been captured, but we don't have any great detail on exactly how it was accomplished, but there will be details later today coming as they sort through all of this and finally give a press conference.
Other breaking news, Robin. We have 2 walls set up that the guys are going to try and escape, and we'll do that in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for that. I don't think any of them.
The capture.
I don't think any of them could do it. Although I understand one of our engineers was able to do it, but the guy's really young and fit.
Could you imagine getting your news from this show? So somebody devised a bit that apparently they're gonna try to do like a park. You know what parkour is?
Oh yes, I do. And
yeah, it's probably started in Australia.
Doing it on a non-visual format.
Yes,
it's going to be incredibly great.
This is a radio show, right? This is a radio show.
So we can hear banging sounds. You could just do a bit of sound foley on that, sound design, and fake it.
There's really no worse way to report the news than getting it. Could you imagine getting your news from Robin? This is her. That's the news lady. Like, that's her one contribution. Like, she actually gets to do a news story in the way. It's so bizarre the way the news has been X'd out of it. Thank you, Arnold Strong, numero uno. I say this all the time, Bon, and I think you'll agree with me. Could you imagine, like with all the big podcast companies now, coming to a podcast network and packaging this show, the Stern Show, and saying, this is my contribution, sign me, this is my audition tape, and you gave them what there is no, it's kind of an oxymoron to say the best of anything on this show, but you just took excerpts from this show and you gave it to like one of the big podcast companies and said, sign me for Joe Rogan. Give it to Spotify. Sign me for Joe Rogan, and they listen to it. Like, without Howard's name on it. Could you imagine trying to get signed by anybody with this as your
no? Oh, it'd be so difficult because it's so hard to categorize it because it's
right. You'd have to put it into a category, right? You'd have to tell them this is what it is.
It's entertainment, and that's very broad. And then you say, well, I guess if they said, so we just cover news, current news, and you'd say, not live, really? Not live.
Have to explain. So what is this show? He'd have to explain it. And you can't. It doesn't have and that's not a compliment.
Of course. And you'd have to say, well, the host talks about his career from the 80s.
Right.
That's
over and over again.
Yeah.
And he changes it.
And he talks about his mother.
Private parts.
Yeah, his mum and dad. He's got and depression. He talks about all of his problems. If he's going to the hospital for urinary issue, he's going to mention that on the air.
And you'd be like, well, does he have kids? Like, yeah, he has 3 daughters, I think. Like, it took me 5 years to figure out that he had kids. Does he talk about his kids? No, he briefly brings up one of them. The other 2, he has a granddaughter he's not allowed to talk about. There's a red flag list of all these things he's not allowed to talk about. He doesn't talk about sports. He doesn't talk about current events. He's one of the wealthiest people in the country. I think he's considered the wealthiest entertainer by Forbes standards. He won't talk about that, so you're not going to get a live. And like, so what are we supposed to do with the show? Could you imagine trying to pitch this show to a new podcast company? What do we do with it? You wouldn't even get to second base. You wouldn't even get.
It's amazing that whatever he's getting paid now, it's amazing that he's getting it. It doesn't.
Even the
He
Trump
doesn't
thing.
deserve it.
It's crazy. It's and you have the whole company held hostage, right? They can't even hire new talent. We brought up football the other day. They got rid of Barstool Sports. And that's why I got so pissed at that fucking Dave Portnoy. He's such a chowderhead, chucklehead huckster. I fucking hate that guy. He kisses. They go to the Hamptons with Robert Kraft, the owner of the. So it's all a big chowderhead circle jerk. So he gets introduced to Howard by Robert Kraft, and he kisses Howard's ass. And I say, you shouldn't want to meet him. You shouldn't want his approval at this point. You should have passed him by. You don't need, when he knows you want his approval, that gasses his head up, and that qualifies this whole thing. You should be saying, if you're so hip and that Barstool brand is so great, you should know how bad the Stern Show is. You shouldn't want a goddamn thing to do with it. You should be spending time feuding and going after him on your platform if you have that kind of power. And so I have no respect for that guy for kissing his ass. And by kissing his ass, even wanting to meet him or wanting him to know who you are, you shouldn't give a shit.
I did get, as John knows, I did get kind of fed up last night, this morning.
Yeah.
And I emailed John and said, this is so bad, this episode, that I don't know.
I felt it in your email. I really did.
I was fed up because it's just very, it gets me down. Like
Xavier's washing dishes at the Chipotle bond. That's where Hooper gave us an update.
Oh, that's where he's at.
He's at the Chipotle dish.
Thanks. We'll thank him for letting us know. And yeah, so it was a bit of trouble and so you've provided some wonderful stuff for tonight, and I'm slightly relieved that Xavier isn't here because I know how much he hates what I love, the thing I love the most, and that's Emily Stern. And she knocked up a new song this morning. So when I was preparing, I went, oh, hell yeah. Now, John,
you're like Emily's biggest fan now. You are to Emily now. I thought I was her biggest stalker. I think you've passed me by. You are to Emily what Gary Puppet is to Ashley Stern. You start an Emily Stern thread every day on the Gunk forums.
Every time it comes up, like I would have posted this one, but I was like, I'll save it for the show because
she's the most fascinating part of the Stern universe. If you think about it,
she went rogue. She's an outlier, and she's autonomous because she's funded. She can do anything she wants.
Yes,
and whenever he passes away, just like with Beefus, we're going to see some real strange stuff from those two because Emily's going to become a multimillionaire.
She's like any of the big Nepo babies, just running around doing whatever they want. It's almost like every time she posts a video like you have, Ashley inherits another million. she's cut out a little more out of the will.
Well, this came up, and so, John, just listen and enjoy and comment, if you will, on this new song with her friend, a new friend too. We've seen the other guy from the other videos. This is a new one, and I did some zooming in because the facial expression, she's given this everything.
They're like a Kryptonian Phantom Zone wedding band, right? I'm not
Yeah.
one to fat shame, but more chins
Everyone
than
else in the thread
James.
is in the chat.
What did he say? I looked down. More chins than
Uh,
James Wan's contact list. Good God. And that's again, good. I think we've got the makings of a new contest, right? The Beautiful Day contest. Can we redo that song and rap
oh, we
versions
can.
and death metal versions? We're so fixated on Zoo. Is that worse
Oh,
or
this is a
better
great
or however you
idea.
want to?
That's a great idea, and I think we may mobilize because I know David. It's two chords they're playing on
Yeah.
the piano. So if anyone has a keyboard lying around, they'll probably be able to work them out themselves. You don't really need. We could do something because she's just being prolific, man. Like she did two new songs on a Friday night in a row, and I think there's an album. There's gonna if oh man, if she drops an album, I'm gonna lose my mind because she
David
did
wants
that
it.
tour, that live singing the other month, a month ago. Remember where she was
Yeah.
singing and
I think she puts out
she's
more music than Howard puts out shows. I think she puts out like 90 songs a year.
nice. I love that. And I've just got a quick update. I've apparently Dennis sent me some footage of him out in Tennessee. So thanks for the
What?
update, Dennis. I hope it's going well. Oh my
Arnold Strong
goodness.
numero uno says the younger guys. That's so. Hey, you talk about the younger people that work on this show. They're trying to get into the lowest levels of show business, and they work on this show. I bet you they don't have a good. He writes, the younger guys on the show have to know that none of their friends actually ever listen or talk about the show that they know. It's probably just like with us with the show. I rarely tell anyone that we do this show. Do you think the young people on the show can be proud to work on the show on any level and just say,
Oh,
yeah, I
that's a
just work it
point I've
serious. I
never.
don't work. Yeah, I don't say
Yeah,
what they do.
I've never thought about that because you can't use your fame anymore like you could, but with
Right.
appearances. So you are
This
stuck.
doesn't lead to anything. Right. This is a dead end.
Yeah, because they'd also we're allowed to make more money, like Sal and all of that. They could do the appearances and probably make 20 grand more a year or even more with
It
those
would be enough
shows.
to make them like comfortable, and he won't
Yeah.
allow them to do that because it cheapens his brand. And what, pray tell, is this precious brand we're garnishing so much? What is this brand we're protecting? It's already been torn limb from limb for at least 10 years. Well, more than that. I think I don't know what the brand ever was, but whatever it is, it's much worse than Howard thinks it is. Those days, that ship sailed. There is no brand.
Yeah,
You can't even use. I don't even think you deserve to use the word brand.
what could you say? You'd be, oh, if I worked on that show.
Crazy Robin, welcome back, Crazy Robin, our Nubian princess. She always takes those little Crazy Robin sabbaticals, but it's good to see her back.
Yeah. Hope you're okay. Hope you're
Sarah was
Katie.
requesting her to sit in a 90210 watch along a couple times.
Yeah, I remember
in the-
that.
Yeah.
I thought that was set. So, Crazy Robin, you got to get in touch with them. And you know what we've got? Who wants to head into the Dabbleverse for a very, very, very brief moment? John, are you keen?
Yeah, go ahead, do it. I'm not going to say it.
Well, it's got
this is your
something that-
reward for helping out this 2 weeks.
You're going to indulge me now. You were a fan of Sam Kinison and his brother Bill. Last week he was on Stuttering John's podcast, and God, John, you're going to love this. John, things get lost in translation. I think this segment should be called.
Go out and then come back in. Can you redo all this? Just go out of the room, go out and then come back in.
He literally walked out of his room.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, John?
Hey, I'm trying to get Bill on his computer.
I've seen better chemistry from Skip Bayless and Michael Irvin. So that's Sam Kinnison's older brother at that point, right? Or just that doesn't matter if he's older. That was when Howard would have on, if he couldn't get the guy who would have Bill Kinnison on. He would have on George Carlin's brother. It's God. How is that? That's Bill Kinnison, or does he have
Yeah.
another brother? Oh, that's crazy. Where did it go from? Where did the interview go from there? And what did he talk about with him?
I do not want to know. I saw that was on Twitter, and I just thought, oh God, John, you
Speaking of
can't tell.
Kinnison,
Yeah.
the Paul Simon, right? The Sounds of Kinnison is a Paul Simon song. So we're gonna have to go to that next week. That fucking Fred song. We get to hear Fred singing "The Sounds of Kinnison."
Oh
'Cause
no.
That's
Yeah,
actually from the Paul Simon song.
he did a bit of that this morning, gearing up for Paul Simon. Like 5 minutes out of that show. So you know how he loves to waste time. Wow.
What do you think about what Farmer Justin says here? I say this all the time in different ways and phrased different. So Howard seems to be afraid to talk about current events. I think he's so scrambled by pre-recording, and he gets the option to pre-record anytime something is mentioned. He is out of it. I do. I do think I think that's why the news went away. I think it gives him the option to pre-record stuff. By no means, and again, the show doesn't need to be. They could pre-tape it, and nobody would give a shit. They don't need. It doesn't need to be live on any level. That's a
No,
great comment.
but I want it to be like obviously like this morning when the fugitive was caught. I was like, it is live, so we can't use that anymore because it is live. So if Aerosmith come on, it may not be live, but breaking in was good. It was a bit of a relief because oh man, that would have been a smoking gun for this show if he hadn't even mentioned that. If the fugitive was caught, I would have been like, you've got him. You've got him.
Somebody posted, I think it was last night, that Aerosmith canceled a tour, and you know that ties into Hollywood Vampires with Joe Perry. Where are we at with Steven Tyler's statutory rape? Now that would have to be why they canceled it, right? It's not going away. That was the last thing I heard of Steven Tyler. They just canceled it and made up an excuse of exhaustion. They're old and blah, blah, blah. But that has to be why, right? The statutory rape thing has not gone away.
No, I don't think it has. I'm just checking it out now. They postponed, a day ago, they postponed 6 farewell tour shows because of Steven Tyler's, quote, vocal cord damage. So, yes, it doesn't...
Jeremy Harrelson. I think we're going to spend a little time. I was going to give my phone number out if Bon wants to, and I was going to take calls and put on speakerphone. And if you wanted to, I mean, I don't know.
That's your choice.
I don't know what the risk is. I really don't. I don't know. What are you going to do with it? Serious question. Jeremy Harrelson says, do you think Howard tries to ignore current events because he doesn't want to offend anyone, because his dad isn't around to tell him what to think, because it's not about him? Yeah, I think that he doesn't have a strong take on it. He has no passion, or he doesn't really stand for anything. He may have used to stand for something, but he doesn't stand for anything now. So he does need to be told what to think. He's worried about his real primary concern is, how do I sit at the Hollywood lunch table? And I do think he's terrified of current events for that reason. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing blew his mind. Bomb would have taken him 3 weeks to weigh in for the first time after the trial had been going on. And because Robert Downey Jr. is such good friends with Depp, and there's a lot of people in his stead that Kimball's friends with Depp, that he didn't know what angle. He tried to take I hate using the W word, but he tried to take the woke angle, and he realized, oh shit, that's not working. And so I think Downey called him and read him the riot act, and he would waffle and flip flop on it. It was the worst take. And I watched, obviously I was immersed in it more than anybody was. Howard's take on it was the worst take in all of pop culture on the Depp stuff. The worst. It would have been so different if that were the 90s and how he would have tackled that. Every day. It would have been like OJ. He would have spent every day on it, all day. He would have guests, revolving around, but he had no take. It was, he stands for nothing. And I think that trial gave me the reason. Okay, he's waiting. He needs to test the waters of celebrity and which way to go. And I think
maybe. Yep. Because, God, that was free content for him. It's very strange. God, he just ignores.
Yeah, you could have spent weeks on it, right? Free content, right.
And you would have loved it. Just you
Oh, I
being
know.
maybe the only one, just as a dep, you could have scoured through it. But he's,
Katie
I
L.
don't know.
Donna says about Emily, darting eyes, like father, like daughter. As nutty as
Oh
she is,
yes.
Emily. Yeah, I agree with that, Beaverhausen. I agree. She's far
Where are
happier than any of the
you in
skeleton
the
twins.
comments? Are
I'm
you
just looking
right
back.
back? Oh, okay, okay.
I was thinking.
I got another thing quickly because I been showing a lot of stuff from the forum, screen grabs this week, and I thought I love segments, so I'm just going to cover a little more of Monique's trip because everyone's asking. But I reached out. I love a segment intro, as you know, and I thought maybe I'll do the voice, and then I thought I'm so sick of hearing my voice on this podcast. When
Yeah, you get sick of
I turn
yourself.
it on and I hear me
Welcome to my
going
world. I get sick of
cleaning out
myself.
the
Yep.
computer, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it. So I reached out to a forum member and said, do you want to do it? And they agreed, and so we have a new segment called Forum Moment.
And now, the forum moment. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I believe that was the great Chaka Khan doing Ray Stern, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. I reached out. And
I didn't want to blow up your spot.
You got it, man. You got it. And what a lovely voice.
Yeah.
So here's our Monique. This has been her post for her while she's been in Egypt, and she's been putting up some wonderful stuff. Beautiful shot there. The camera quality as well of these photos on the forum, they're gigantic, 4K, crazy. And our forum members got into the Photoshop, and boom, Bobble Booey nailed it, dude.
Is that a Panera Bread in the background? Where is she? I don't believe she's in Egypt. The pillars of her, that's so good.
Biznick had to kick in, and she posted this one.
Oh my God. Is that Hansy? Is that the great Hansy from Canada?
No, but she writes, fascinating wood sculpture, so haunting and lifelike, so Monique, isn't it? And then,
Yeah.
boom, Biznick. Look at that. And someone did a Benji, which it really does look like Benji.
Yeah.
That,
oh, wow.
The eyes, are bulging, bulbous eyes.
Michael Clark Benji. You crazy kids in your Photoshop. You're so quick on that.
They nail it, and I'll give her props. She's a trooper. There've been hundreds of Photoshops of Monique, and she's never complained once. She takes it on the chin, and that
was the forum moment. What's a forum?
It's hard to be abroad in these midst. Stern fans are sociopaths and crazy people. We have the best amongst us, but you gotta be, you gotta have a thick skin. It's really tough to be in the mid. You're always in the firing line. I guess we signed up for it, right? Just like being an NFL player, you signed up for it. There was no court that sentenced you to play in the NFL. Now you're complaining about if somebody gave you an option, like when you're a little kid. I remember just being like, to any like kid playing PAL or Pop Warner in middle school, and they said to him, "Okay, here's the deal. You can make the NFL. I'm going to make a deal with you. It's guaranteed you're going to play in the NFL. You're going to get all the fame whore groupies that come with it, and the salaries and all the great stuff that comes with the fame, and you get to generational wealth. But it's a brutal game. You may have a little head trauma. Who would say no to that deal? And now when you get there, you complain about that it's too violent, as if you weren't aware that it's violent.
Yeah, you can't say. Yeah, don't even. You
Who would turn that down?
Yep.
Do you want to go to the actual content of today, or I know it's a bit flimsy.
We're gonna bash. There's only 5 or 6, but he did kick off. I guess he's what you just said earlier, John. He's keeping current with the news, and he talks about the iPhone 15 and just has to whinge about it.
I get really turned on when there's a new iPhone, and then I don't know anything about computers and things, but they made a big announcement, told you they're going to glue it together differently, and the camera is capable of making a major motion picture, but it's kind of like I just use the camera for taking video of Beth rescuing cats. So I don't really, I don't know. I'm not going to go on a movie
You
set
don't
with
need
my new
movie camera.
No, I mean, in the promo, they were like showing you a whole film crew making an entire film with your iPhone.
All of them with phones.
I got to tell you, I made a professional movie. There's something really exciting about going on set and seeing those big cameras, those big movie cameras. It makes you feel like you're doing a movie. Honestly, if I had to shoot my movie today on an iPhone, I'd be really bummed out. I'd be like, I could have done this at home.
It always comes back to him and that if he can crowbar in that movie.
I'm having a hard time, and I think the chat will probably agree with me, and I know you must feel this. I'm having a hard time concentrating on what he's saying because I hate his voice so much. So my skin's crawling, and I'm actually concentrating on the pitch and the Darth Kermit modulation and how he needs to get off. Like every entertainer, like the cardinal sin of entertainment is like not knowing when to get off the stage, right? I told Opie this. He's Shaquille O'Neal on the Celtics or the Cavaliers. Like he should have, at the very least, gotten out 12 years ago. Like when Artie left, that should have been, all right, it's never going to get better than this. And all I do is I find myself listening to him and I'm not even concentrating on, because I know it's so redundant. I know he's repeating himself, that I'm more agitated at how the timbre of his voice.
I know what it is for you, as you call it, the chiclets.
The chiclet teeth and the Darth Kermit, right?
You've been hammering this since the show started. You're right too. I mean,
well, you were talking last night when we got off about. I wish we recorded that, about the pauses. So when you edit this, you said the biggest problem you have is you're editing the pauses out, and the pauses actually take hours for you to sift through because you're distilling a clip that goes from 17 minutes to 90 seconds, and you're taking pauses out by doing that. His pauses, his dramatic Shatner, and those pauses were where Artie used to go, if you think about it.
Oh, perfect analogy.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's when you hear the dull tone, how boring and lifeless and passionless this is. And with no comedian in there, those pauses is where Artie used to go. And that's a huge reason why this show sucks like it does to the level that it does.
If he's trying to signal to Robin, jump in, that's sad. I feel sorry for Howard. If he can't communicate it to her, even just after the show, say, when I pause, I need you to jump in. If their communication level is so low and they've given up, because I don't know if he is, maybe he would say, we give him a hard time about the pause, maybe he would say, yeah, I'm trying to get Robin, I'm waiting. I don't know. But yeah, every time that clip there, that iPhone one, was a lot longer. I could cut 3 seconds out of those pauses. I've shown you, we've all seen that before. So 3, 6, 9, 12, you can get up to 30 seconds cut from just that length of a clip.
His pauses aren't just pauses. This is a guy reading 15 monitors with nobody filling that time. So you're sort of going, we've made fun of it over and over again when Monique will do like, it's an alligator count that you couldn't get to Justin Fields on. And you're just, it's so unnatural. I can't tell you how many times I've thought that there was a glitch in Sirius because it was double-digit seconds. You don't take pauses like that in radio.
Well, Monique got the biggest one last year, the 6 seconds. I still haven't seen one longer. This since I've been doing these, that was a monster.
It would have to be in the last decade. It has to be post No Comedian. It has to be in the last decade. The longest pause. If anyone, we should maybe have a contest. It's dig through the archives and look for the longest pause. That would be the most tedious, fucking boring, but it would be funny. It would be funny.
Yeah. I'll just get back to the iPhone thing, the clips. So they continue on the iPhone.
Oh yeah, they used a lot of big words like super retina, the NIT, and then it's like the A B C D E F G.
Yeah, because she just said the AR of something. I was like, what?
A lot of gobbledygook.
Peak HDR brightness reaches 1600 nits, so HDR photos and videos will look better than ever.
Aren't nits those little lice eggs that, when lice lay eggs, it's a nit?
I don't
maybe
know. No, but she's saying it's got aluminum under it, so I don't care.
And it's bonded. differently.
First innovation, using a new thermomechanical process that joins these two metals with incredible high strength.
And John, this bit's they try and do a bit now, and it's
Well, Robin, look,
Was
it's
that
the
was that
woman.
Rachel Butera, Bon, doing that voice?
Yeah, probably.
Somebody brought up Rosie O'Donnell. So I was reading the Great Mockery Thread, and I want to thank everybody who participates in them, from Reno to K Tate to Spandrel to Kai96 to Cookie to obviously Dennis, who narrates it. And I thought I heard something with Rosie O'Donnell, so I assume they're using fucking Rachel Butera again. I can't believe. I wonder what does she do? What does she do? I can't believe she's a talented broad. I don't know what she. There's no way she enjoys working on the show in any capacity.
Because didn't she do Trump? No, not Trump. Sanders. Remember the Trump's media? But was it Sanders?
Oh, you talk about oh God, Sarah.
You know the chick.
Yeah, Huckabee.
That's right.
I think it was Huckabee, right?
That's her.
The thing with Howard
right.
and Trump is, I hate to give her credit. It seems like this is Sarah Silverman. Trump shamed him into going political. You remember that show we did? It was like 3 years ago. And she's like, you don't stand for, she said to him, you don't stand for anything. What are you doing? And you like, what, all this stuff's going on and you don't bring it up. And she hammered him for 45 minutes straight. And then he realized, oh God, I can, I could get better in the Clooney sect if I actually talk. So his Trump stuff was very stilted. It was very late. He's not at the forefront of it. His takes are just as bad as the Depp Heard takes I was talking about. And, he has people sending his bullshit to the to pick up on Yahoo and articles, and the Publicist and Leslie Dart sends them out to the people, and they act like these are some strong takes in there. And as soon as the Trump people hit back, he hides and as soon as Donald Trump Jr. posts pictures of him doing blackface, he hides again.
Yeah.
Is this a rerun?
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Where did you find that? Did I send you that?
No, I think I hate it. I think I went and listened to the whole bloody interview to get to it. That's the kind of effort we put in sometimes.
I had that right on my heart. I sent it to Monique. I think I sent it to you a couple of weeks ago, and we never played it.
Oh no, I've had that in there for like a year. But
yeah.
I love it the way she said it. She's kind of cool when she's on the show. If you can give him crap, that's great. But they go to they try and do a bit now with this woman iPhone, and you just get that feeling that this isn't comedy.
Oh, Robin, look, it's the woman from Apple who made the announcement. Hi.
The new iPhone 15 has an A12 titanium carbonite HDMI LCD 5.328OX Big Sur operating system.
Well,
you will come in your pants when you see the 3,000 nit display with anodized titanium case.
And it goes on for a few minutes of it. I'm not going to.
You can tell like nobody's heart's in it. Doing it, the voice, certainly Howard, the writing of it, the concocting of it, the crafting of it, the producing of it. You can tell like nobody's heart's in it. It's this forced filler that it just, you're sort of going, who's listening to this show for that? You know what I mean? What on earth?
It's very, sorry.
Forced. No, go. You go.
It's like it's weak. It's not comedy. It's more like entertainment. Like I wouldn't laugh ever, but if I was driving somewhere for hours and hours, I'd go, yeah, but you get it so quick. It's like, I mean, if you hadn't heard that and I said, if I put it to you, maybe you could make a bit out of that girl talking.
Well, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do with it? What do you want us to do? You're listening to it. No one's laughing. You're sort of like, And so are we trying to prove how talented we are at production? That we're doing like kind of a parody, but it's not funny enough to put that kind of effort in. Nobody's heart's in it. What needle are you moving with it? Like, what do you want us to do with that? You know what I mean? What do you want?
It's so low, that comedy. Like if you put it to me, we'll do a satire of the voice. I'd go, oh, well, you just have the woman start saying all weird stuff. Like it's got a picture tube in it and all, which is what they basically did. So it's really low bar. Again, who it's kind of thing that I guess Shuley was and Brent were knocking this kind of stuff up back
Yeah,
in the day.
that's right. That's right.
And that's who I'd love to know who's doing it. But let's talk about Mehmet because he was back, and you know how he comes and goes because he can't deal with it. And I titled
He's
this.
one of the strangest presences on this show. He really does that. You're saying there. He'll disappear for months and months at a time. You're like, oh my god, I'll give you one. I'll give you one. That's even because I made clips of him today. What is Steve Brandano up to?
I'd love to know because he's still there.
He's on the show, but you don't hear his voice. And he probably likes it that way. He's probably embarrassed. his hip Williamsburg friends think the show's a piece of shit.
He became like the live music coordinator or something.
Yeah, that's the title they gave him, right? But he wants
that's the title. But get him in and make fun of him because that wouldn't bother me. Hearing people crap on him, he's so weird.
Does anyone remember the last time you heard Steve Brandano on the show?
No, I've heard him mentioned. That
not
Howard
even mentioned.
Would mention.
He's almost got the Marcy thing where you don't bring his name up. He's almost like he's that next level. Like you don't know it's crazy.
And with him like that, I don't care because I want to.
No, I know.
If you say I can hear about Marcy, I'm like, yeah, there's so much. But with him, it's just a void. But you don't know. You never know. Like we have freaking Arse Napkin Ed just pops up. So it could happen next week, and it wouldn't surprise me. That's the problem. They don't try and do anything with it. The moment they're running so empty on the gas, they'll bring Beetlejuice. They'll pay Beetlejuice probably $100 to come on, which is probably what they had to do to get him last year or whenever it was. I think it was last year or this year.
Do you know how big he is on TikTok?
Yeah, no. It's so weird.
I think it was a Katarina. I don't know if she's in our chat anymore. Brought my attention to it, and I looked at it, and it was like 10 million views on his one thing gets more than every Stern video combined, and he's the show. Like, and they know it, and they should have like a manager that keeps him away from them. Like, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't know who he was, but he's passed them by like they're standing still, and it ain't that hard. Crazy Robin goes, Rachel needs the money, and she sells her soul. That's right, Crazy Robin. Rachel Butera. She needs. If I don't know, I would love to know, and I'm sure she'd probably tell you, like if you got her alone somewhere, she would say they give me. I don't know. What would you say they give her a bid if she does like there's no way she's doing this shit for free.
It'd be by the hour. She'd be charging like freelance. It'd be by the hour, so not much because that girl like that can do it in 1 or 2 takes. So it's.
Yeah,
I don't even know how they
She's
work.
Very
out
talented.
The money for
She's
that.
very, I'm sure her dream was to be on a sketch show like in SNL, but the timing wasn't there. However, that SNL sucks because it's not merit based. It hires people like Pete Davidson. It's going for fame. It's going for weird gimmicks, and Ken Lorne Michaels packaged this into a teen idol and stuff. So SNL is not about talent anymore. It's about weird gimmicks, and she certainly is as good as anybody, female wise. She's very talented. And who is that last one you posted, Bon? Who was that? Who am I? Clay Douglas over here. Is that a real name or is that a joke I'm not kind of catching on to? Who's Clay Douglas, Gamma Man? Is that a real thing?
Oh, yes.
He's on
I have no idea. I'll type it into Google.
Yeah.
Clay.
Sarah Huckabee, the new face of L'Oreal, says Johnny Meyer. There's no place in the show business for a Rachel Butera anymore, says David. Like the audience are unsophisticated enough to do an impression that only acts anymore. It went out with Rich Little, especially this show. It doesn't belong. Nothing belongs in this show.
He's a podcaster.
Okay,
Clay
but does he really produce that show? And they're not allowed to. Oh, okay. Angry political guy. Isn't that a right wing guy? Brandano works on that show? I don't know.
Type Steve's name in on that as well, just to see if it's actually listed.
Did he leave the show and we're not aware of it in the vein of like a Brent and Shuley and Scott the engineer, and they just don't, obviously they don't bring up anybody that leaves it? That's absolutely a no-no. Is that possible? Or...
Yeah, it is very possible. When you get
I don't know what a Brandano gets out of this show.
Yeah. when you get them having no airtime, you
Yeah,
just
I
don't
don't know
even
what he.
know when they
Right.
get kicked out of the show. Oh my god, I don't know, but we'll keep looking. And so Mehmet's on, and it's a long thing, and he's talking about Gary and this vinyl party he does, and
As much as you guys, like to shit on me, I do think I do resonate with a strong majority of the audience who doesn't call in, doesn't email. Like someone was telling me I had the most downloaded episode of Summer School. Like people like me, and despite what you guys, someone upstairs told me that.
Where are you getting this information? You know what, Mehmet, I'm going to give you a sad fact, and I love you, and I love working with you, and I think you do a great job. But having said that, 99.9% of this audience has no idea who Mehmet is. I mean, I don't know that the audience is really sitting and thinking about you.
Well, the people who are keyed in do enjoy me.
Well, the keyed-in audience likes you. I get it. I think when you're on Summer School,
the kind of person who likes me, has a job. They've probably gone to college. They're not sitting on hold for hours. They're not going, how do I email the Howard Stern show? They're busy with their lives.
Like, what's the basis of this research you're discussing right now?
Well, I've told you, people upstairs were like, "Oh, we got so much."
Which
so
people? Who in particular?
I don't. I mean, I don't. I'll give you names later, but yeah, people searched for my name. People downloaded the episode, and they said it went really well.
Yeah. Well, okay.
That fake laugh drives me
You
crazy.
went and looked for your results.
No, people come to me.
Okay.
And this is the best part. The next part is that you see that Howard has to protect Mehmet because something happens, and you can hear Howard and Robin go and to defend him and then get him out of there.
Two questions, a comment and a question. Number one, I think Mehmet is hyper. Out of all the shit on this show, he actually is a decent loose cannon thing. We get some decent moments out of him when he's on the air, because I don't truly think he likes this show deep down. And I think he's holding. I almost feel for him in this clip, because I think he knows how bad the sentiment amongst all the ex-fans are online, and he's not allowed to talk about it. So he's kind of holding back, and he realizes that he can't expose how hated Howard is, truly reviled by everybody in those communities, because he's hitting the message boards all the time, and he just sees how hated he is.
Yeah.
And how do you download this show, by the way, now? Where are we downloading the show? How do you download it? No, I'm talking about the Stern show. He actually, my Summer School appearance is the most downloaded. Yeah. How do you download that?
He might just be meaning views, numbers of
download.
views.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Is there
maybe? Well, if you'd know with the app, that Summer School, can you download it to your phone so you can watch it later offline or something like that?
I don't. I've never been able to do it if there's a function for it. I don't know anyone who does. So I don't know. I don't understand. I have my own download method that I gave you the link for. We get the show for free. We're not paying for it, Howard. So, and I'll give anyone that link if they want it. I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you my link if you'll cancel Sirius, and then call. You have to call the operator and tell them why. And tell them why you hate the show.
Yes, that link is awesome. But check this. Listen to this, because they go to Mehmet's weight, and things go weird.
Mehmet eats like a f***ing child. He goes to get a steak at Dave and Buster's. We say we're going to go to we're going to go to a high-end sandwich shop, and he goes, "Oh, sandwiches are disgusting. Why would anybody have a sandwich?"
Not disgusting.
Anywhere he goes, as soon as he gets to the menu, he's in a panic, because any restaurant you go to, he's got to immediately find out if there's chicken fingers or pizza on the menu, and he puts salt on everything to an amount that you can't believe. He's the worst eater I've ever met.
Okay, let's just point out we're talking about I'm the most fit person on staff, and all of a sudden I'm a bad eater.
You got a gut.
No, I don't have. I did, but I lost it.
You did? When did that happen? I
saw
you
out
there.
All right. Well,
all right.
So now
let's just say
descended into something that's not very funny.
Right. Let's make Mehmet's day.
Hey, great clip on, by the way. You're doing an excellent job squeezing a diamond out of this rubble out of this bedrock of bullshit. That's a really good clip. So now we're all fat shaming now. So now Gary's fat. This is what happens now on the show. Is they all been doing this, and I've noticed this since the germaphobe stuff. They all pretend to be what Howard is. So in order to appeal to Howard, we all have to fat shame now. So now Gary of all people is fat shaming and food shaming Mamet. And Gary's eating habits are as bad or worse than his.
Yeah.
And he smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day. So Gary's no healthier than anyone is.
But then in a great double standard, you get Howard and Robin saying this is inappropriate. I mean, what?
Why would he bail on that?
What about Howard laughing at Jason Kaplan's weight?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
But but Gary thinks he's appealing to Howard's fat shaming side and his Schadenfreude side by doing this, and he bails on it. So you're not even getting that side. That's exactly why Gary's going in that direction. Do you remember when we did a show on the Christmas party? And this is another time when Mamet was great. He talked about how Mamet just kind of lost it, and he was like, "Why is this staff Christmas party that we're all not getting bonuses for?" Howard claimed, he's like, "Well, I'll give you," and he's like, I'd rather have the money. What would you rather have? An anorexic lure fish bar or a $2,000 bonus at Christmas? Like, you could just do it on yourself. You could go to Popeye's fish. I don't mean the chicken place. I mean, there's in Long Island a fish thing. Long John Silver's. So he said, why are you tailoring a Christmas party for you and Beth when it's for the staff? So they go to this lure fish bar. He's like, I don't like fish. A lot of people don't like fish. It's like not something I look forward to. That's my big bonus. I get to eat what Beth wants. That's for you, the lure fish bar, and you're writing it off, as a matter of fact. So that is a 112 production write-off, and you're having a Christmas party for you and Beth. You're celebrating yourselves. You're jerking yourselves off. I don't like fish. Most of the staff is in on fish. So he's like, I like, burgers and pizza and stuff like that. And they couldn't understand it. And there's no way they don't understand it, because Gary's been goofed on in that same exact way. I don't know how many times over the years.
Yep. It's nasty. Really nasty. Like,
I hate this show. I
give
hate
them
everybody
the
on
money.
this show.
Like, what's Howard's
Give me the money.
brain at?
Cancel this.
Yeah.
He does it because it's a right. We've gone over this a million times. He has that stupid holiday party. It's usually, if anyone's in New York, you want to crash it. It's the last Wednesday. It's the mid Wednesday of every December at the Lure Fish Bar, and it's in Tribeca on, I think it's either Walker or West Broadway. And just hang out. Go there at around 4:30, 6 o'clock, and just hang out. Go inside. They probably have it reserved, but just hang out outside, and you can watch them all go in and heckle them and do whatever you want and sneak in, crash, whatever. But it's Wednesday. It's the mid Wednesday of every December, the Lure Fish Bar in Tribeca, and then go in there around 4:30 to 6 and just hang out.
Stuttering John's writing this down. Yeah, this is what's going on, and that ending there, barreling Mamet out of there, it's getting too tough. Don't have him on air if you can't deal with that.
I agree, Affy. I love pick and
stupid.
Thank you, Aaron Taylor. Thank you, Aaron Taylor. He says you can download it on the app. So I guess if you have the app on your phone, there's a download thing. And does it come in like where you can save it, or does it just sit there and you can't move it around? Because I hate Apple. You can't move files around. That's why I don't deal with it.
Probably can't move it.
Yeah,
but
I bet you can't move it.
It'll work if you're in a cave or something.
Right.
You'll be able to watch it. So that's crazy. But they little Snapkin Ed calls, and this segues into another. This is interesting, actually, John.
He's got a weird accent.
Did you hear this, John?
I have not heard it.
Listen to what he says, because there's a couple of things that you're going to go, interesting.
Old buddy asked Napkin Ed. How are you, Ed?
Howard, I have a couple questions, and what do you want me to start with? You got them there on your computer.
You say I don't have anything on my computer, Ed, and I don't know what you should. You're asking me which
start with.
You're asking me which questions of yours you should start with, and honestly, I don't know any of your questions.
All right, I'll go through it real quick. I do videos now on YouTube, and my name on there is napkin Ed Stern.
Oh boy.
Okay. Is that a question?
Yeah. I got two questions. I want to know if you moan during sex.
No.
And the second one, why don't you do a real interview with Trump? Just a real interview.
Oh, I think Trump's been interviewed enough.
Or can't you get him anymore?
I don't think he'd come on, but the interview would be contentious. I don't like I don't approve of what he's doing. And it wouldn't be.
Talk to him about it.
All right. Well, he's invited on any time. Come on, and I'll talk to you about
All
it.
right. What about the sex thing?
He said
I said
no.
I don't moan when I fuck. I think it's creepy. Of course you moan. You're a creep. You're creepy.
How's that?
You know you are. It's just creepy. If I did that, I think Beth would freak out. Like it's hot when a woman moans, but when a dude does it, it's a little fucked up. It's like, moaning.
I've been getting some.
All right.
Didn't he just brag to Anderson Cooper promoting his awful book with 16 new pages that the title he stole from Jackie Martling, Comes Again, that the Trump team offered him to do the Republican convention that he was supposed to speak at it?
Oh,
Did he not brag to Anderson Cooper that he was offered the fucking Republican convention? So now you really don't think he can get? He's literally telling the audience, "I am not interested in doing exciting, good radio with an. I don't forget about your political side. How would you possibly not attempt to have him on or say no? I mean, I could he get him on? I don't know. I think maybe Trump would do it. He's him or not, he's one of the best guests in the history of the show.
Trump knows what he's done to all these parodies.
He's afraid of
Trump
him, is what he is.
Trump would fucking hate him
He's
now.
afraid of him, of course. He's got nothing he knows how neutered he is. I think Trump had a rant last year about out of nowhere. He had that Truth Social thing. I guess he did like a video of saying how bad the Stern Show out of nowhere. It was just some random rant. It was so weird.
Right.
I couldn't believe all the indictments that he had time to do this. It was so bizarre, but he's clearly afraid of him. And that's a great clip you found. And the monitor thing. I mean, do we have to go into that? We've seen how many stills of 15 monitors. Do you remember the famous thing with Artie was talking about how racist Howard was in the day when he would have callers say the N-word? And when Chris Rock was on, he saw.
Oh, yeah. They'd cue it up.
Yeah.
So the next caller, that's all they want to do is say the
Monique
N-word.
had that clip.
Yeah.
Monique has that clip somewhere. And we've heard it a million times. This is how patronizing, how stupid he thinks the audience is, that we don't know the monitor shit by now. There's 10 of them.
It's basically saying, these are the questions you wanted me to ask.
Yes.
And I don't have them on the monitor. I don't know.
And hasn't Ask Napkin has been in the studio, right? So he's seen the studio setup.
Absolutely.
So he knows what they have from Sirius. What? How? God damn it! He's disrespecting or what little audience he has left. Honestly, it's so bad. It's complete. All honesty and any edge is completely shaved off this show. There's nothing left. He couldn't take that on. Really? The monitors are too much to say that you have monitors now?
I liked how he threw in you can't get him to Howard. You can't get Trump.
Yeah.
You can't get him, man. You just can't get him on. Howard would be.
Either way, it's embarrassing. He's either afraid of him or he can't get him. Either way, it's lose. He had his chance, and he doesn't have any ability to do good radio. That's what you want to hear, some mixing it up. And he could be, if he had his shit together, if he had some piss and vinegar, if he had passion, if he stood for anything, he could have Trump on and challenge him and get him to hang up on him and really hit him like what's her name did from NBC. Jesus Christ, who's God, what is the woman's name from NBC who interviewed Amber Heard? Savannah Guthrie. You're the world's greatest interviewer, right? That's how you're billing yourself. Why can't you do it? Aren't you? Sirius runs promos and medleys about how great an interviewer he is. Why shouldn't you want to do that? Shouldn't the world's greatest interviewer want to take that on as a swan song?
Exactly. I got something good, though. I think I found something good in this episode. Will you indulge me, John?
Sure.
they did a prank call, and it's a callback to. Well, they explain it, and you'll remember this because Richard and Sal used to do this. But I thought it was pretty good. So this takes a couple of minutes, but
One
I thought
one last thing, Bon. I'm sorry. Arnold
Yeah,
Strong
yeah.
numero uno. Arnold, one question. You know, like when you go on the internet, you have a second chance. You have a mulligan. If you hate your name, you can give yourself a new name and the name that you maybe really wanted. How do you come up with, out of all the names you could choose, you look at it and say, yes, Arnold
Yeah.
Strong numero uno is
This
the
is
one
good.
that I'm going with.
We're waiting
I
for you
gotta
to
know how
answer
you come up
this.
with that name.
Arnold
But he says that
Strong.
Gary's friends with John Hine, right? And John Hine's diet is 10 times worse than Mamet's, right? Shouldn't we be doing that rant to John Hine?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good point, Arnold.
Gary, Hine, Jason, freaking JD. The only, I imagine, we haven't heard from Will for
Yes,
years, it
yes.
feels like. So I don't even know what he looks like. He's probably still a weedy little skinny little man. Everybody on that show's chunky apart from Howard and Fred, I guess.
But who cares? It's radio.
Benji as
It's
well
not a
sitting
Victoria's
there looking
Secret.
like a...
The vanity is the last thing the show should be worried. It's radio. Nobody cares. No, all they did. It's insane. Him and the weight. Since I've been listening to the show, it's just insane.
Oh yeah, we've got something on the weight coming up too because the Ozempic. But we'll hit this because they listen to this. I want you to be perfectly 100% honest and tell me if you think this is. I'm not saying it's hilarious, but I'm saying it's just entertaining, like more than you'd expect from the Stern Show these days. Check this out.
You know that an internet radio show, for lack of a better term, that we listen to, the one where it's two people called Tyra and Mother, and Mother's a guy that talks like this. We call it the world's strangest internet program, the Mother Show it's called. It's a new age hippy-dippy program hosted by this woman, Tyra, and her co-host, Mother. We think Mother's a man, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
Is
We don't
Mother
know.
supposed to be a real person, or I don't even know what the whole premise is.
We're intrigued with this show. We love this show. We love calling them. And now, for the world premiere, we thought it'd be fun to clone Mother's distinct voice using AI software. When AI Mother and AI Tara called the real Mother and Tara on the Mother Show. Yes.
Anything you want to say about that, Mother?
There is no judge, jury, executioner when your crimes against the universe come to the light of day.
Okay, we have a caller, everyone. John, you're on the air.
Hello, this is John P. McGrady. You see, I'm a bit of a software engineer, and I love the show. I took some of the show audio, I put it into this software I developed, and I came up with an AI Mother and Tara.
What do you mean?
Well, they talk to each other, they come up with topics, and the great thing is it could host your show long after you're gone.
Well, all right, well,
would you like to hear a little bit of it?
okay.
All right, well, let me just boot up the program here, and I'll introduce you to him.
Hello, I am AI Tara.
Oh, great. Hello.
This is Mother AI.
You are?
Yeah.
Greetings, Mother.
It sounds.
John, I'm getting so much pushback from the chat. I'm thinking of cutting
Well, let's read what they say. You don't need me to talk about how this is, and it's the Chris Wilde does that same voice every time he. No, you immediately you just know it's his fucking hacky self. God, he and Howard must be anal raping the f out of each other if he's getting on with this shit. They turn stuff down to choose this.
Yep. I don't mind it when you get into this stuff because there's a lot of sounds. I get off on the computer sounds. They put that all together, but but I can
How
see
much?
why
How long do you think it took him to do that?
Oh, not that long, but I don't know.
What do you
half
want
an
us to
hour,
do?
an
Who
hour.
is this for? Lauren Marie says Howard's not even listening to this segment. I really don't think he's listening. He just read off script and the intro. He's probably looking at his cell phone while this is going. I agree. I don't even think he's listening to it.
Yeah, I like the callback to the old show with that because that's from Richard and Sal in 2000. 8 or
Jeremy
7 or something.
Harrelson's got a great point too. This is a ripoff of Richard Christie's stupid Ethel call, which wasn't really that funny either, and he's actually knocking off of that. I agree with that 100%. The Ethel Merman, and Sal and Richard do it. And by the way, prank calls are illegal. You can't prank. You're not allowed to do it in New York. You have to. What the rule is, and Opie's explained this. He's blown up the Stern Show spot over and over again. You have to call the person first, tell them you're pranking them, and they go along with it. Johnny Meyer's in there. He probably does it all the time. So they know you're calling them, and it's this disingenuous bullshit. It's completely. We know they're fake, but I'm just telling you how it's fake. You have to tell the person you're calling them, and then you execute that. How it go? Maybe Wilding calls the guys like, "Look, I'm from the." I mean, they're a back office person in that case, but you could even do it with real people and say, "We're going to call you, and you're going to go along with this."
Yeah, it is interesting though, because the one to Ronnie, which was spoofing the number, a fake phone number comes up, and Ronnie said they looked up the number, so they were actually spoofing the place that they were saying that they were calling from. That's illegal too. You get a $10,000 fine in New York State for doing that. So you could say that Ronnie knew. Of course, it's Ronnie, so I guess they could spoof the number and trick him into thinking that it's the person. Because what's Ronnie going to do? Call the police about it or whatever? I don't know. But they're getting up to little tricks on this show to try and. I hope this call that we're listening to, I hope it wasn't fake.
Oh, if that was a real thing, but I mean, the production and the layers to it, and the bottom line is like you at very best you're like, oh, that was kind of interesting, and the final product, what do you want us to do with that? What do you get out of it as a listener, and how much the absolute production that goes into making that thing? How it probably took them 3 hours to make that thing. And it just lays there. What do you think about this with Trump? If Trump says no, Trump could come back and expose how few listeners the show gets. So he turns them down and says, "No, I'm never going to go on a show that has so few listeners like you do." And they actually expose. I don't know. Maybe he gets somebody in the know at Sirius, and he actually exposes how few listeners he has. He's like, it's not worth my time to do a show that has 6,000 listeners a week.
I wish he would. I just think like the last couple of years he's had so much on his mind and everything that he never would bother. He probably thinks Howard's just so irrelevant that it's not worth. I don't know, but I got an aeroplane flying over, if you can hear that.
What was your reaction when you listened to this in real time?
That clip just then, or the whole show?
The clip, this clip.
I thought that I got off on the history that Rich and Sal used to do it. I liked that, but I'm not freaking jumping up and down. Like, I'm never going to laugh literally out loud at this show. That's impossible.
Well, Howard oversells it so much. The mere act and the edge of any organic prank call has left the building. You can't do anything that, and least of all, we know even the most lemming, naive amongst us know how fake it all is. I can't believe they still go through with it. Will Murray is the quote unquote head writer of this show, so it's all filtered. Ugh. He's greenlighting this. So Will Murray deserves to take accountability for how this stuff gets on. They're not capable of good work, so I don't even want to. No matter what they do, we're going to hate it. It's just going to go on and on and on. But that's especially bad.
And it did, because I was trimming that clip, but it was probably 5 minutes, so it's a time killer. 5-minute prank call. You got big balls to try that.
Abe Rizzo says, "Can we address Robin's dementia? Howard just lets her babble and babble and babble, doesn't respond to what she says. They have no chemistry. They don't hear each other. He seems very annoyed when she rants." They really, really don't mesh. If they were even ever had chemistry, but now it's especially bad. There's really nothing there, right? There's no repartee. They don't bounce off each other. They're just like they're not even. It's like they're recording 2 different shows on 2 different days. I don't even notice her anymore. I don't even notice she's that. Like, she speaks and I don't even hear it. It's white noise, no pun intended.
But she knows he's a phony, I feel.
I
So
do
she
too. I think
doesn't. There's a disdain for him, and when the Beth comes in, she just can't help but just go, "This is crazy. You're crazy."
Yeah.
To them, she resents. It's so weird. The whole. I don't blame her for. I'd love to. If I lived over there, if I saw her, that's the kind of stern staff member that I would go and talk to, because I would love to say hi and say, "Oh, lie, and I love you on the show," and she'd go, "Oh, thank you," and then try and just make some jabs at Howard and see if she starts laughing hysterically, just to see where she feels like, and just throw in stuff like, "You can't be enjoying doing this now, the way Howard wants to run this show." See how she reacts. I don't know.
No, I get it in her voice. I get she's tired of going along with the program. She's a Buckwall client. She's got to go. She can't stand his lies and the redundancy and the kind of the repeating the same stories. She sounds just very, very jaded. It's unbelievable. Like the core sin of entertainment is not knowing when to get off the stage, and he's torn that limb from limb. I mean, he should have retired. We say this all the time. 13 when Artie left was the greatest time to leave.
Yeah, I think when she does her rants, that's the closest she can get to cracking on air.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
just,
she can't even fake. She's losing the fake laugh, right? She can't even fake laugh anymore.
Yeah, she goes, "Oh my God, I've got to talk. I've just got to talk. I've just got to hear my own voice for 1 minute. Or either I'm going to say, I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah.
She just goes, "You're going to listen. I'm going to have some control for 1 minute." And he knows that too. He's fantastic when she does. He just goes, "Yes. Yeah,
Josh
yes,
Foster says that they
yes."
need to be in studio for it to work. I don't think it matters, Josh. I don't think I think people are clinging to this studio thing that somehow it's going to matter. They have nothing to offer. Nobody on the show has anything to offer the audience. I don't think it matters at all who's in studio with who, looking at who. I don't think it matters if it's live. I think it's just all done. They have nothing to offer the audience anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
Brizzo, I agree. He's making me hate they're making me hate prank calls now, which used to be such a glorious, funny thing all the time, and they're making me hate prank calls now. Like, I don't want to hear good ones now. They're making me hate everything. They're making me hate Sirius. They're making me hate everything that this show is. Please go away. Please go away.
Yeah, and let's crack on, because they got to this last night. We heard Ralph and Howard. They were annoyed. Well, Howard was annoyed that Ozempic is an easy way to lose weight. You're getting a shortcut, and they found a way to make them feel better, because there's apparently side effects. So Howard's all happy now.
Yes.
You can't lose weight. I had to.
Listen, good news. All these cheaters on Ozempic, some of them are starting to have really bad side effects. Cuomo had this one woman on, and she's living on the toilet. Her stomach is just a mess. And still she wouldn't stop taking it. She's just like, they're addicted to it because they're losing weight and whatnot. But, yeah, there's starting to be side effects. I mean, you can't...
You hope so. I mean, as someone who has worked hard at remaining thin, I was always very happy that other people were heavy. And
of course.
I had some... You know what I mean?
It was like, you did the work.
I did the work, and now all of a sudden they're taking a shot and they're thin, and it's like, okay,
John, I mean, at least he's honest.
If he's not gay, I don't know. There's not a single heterosexual that thinks about weight to this degree. That's just that's a true sign of his homosexuality, is the fact that first of all, you're on the radio, right? So what do we even need vanity for? You're not on television. It never works. You look hideous when you do. And when you're 170 pounds and 6'8", you need to lose 20 more pounds, right? That's just a crazy body dysmorphic bullshit. And these two anorexic fucking fruit baskets jerking each other off. It is leave it to Ralph to bring that up, and still, the
I
weight
think he said
on this show.
cheating scumbags at the start. I think Ralph
Howard
said
has Howard has had liposuction how many times, according to insiders? Isn't there side effects for everything, by the way?
Sure, but
doesn't every single pill you take have a side effect?
Listen,
good news. All these cheaters on Ozempic.
All these cheaters. Ralph, man. But John, the best
leave
part
it.
is
Leave it.
Robin.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Leave it to Barry
Okay,
Hayes
you're
to
right.
chime. Leave it to the great Barry Hayes to chime in on this. Ozempic. This is what it's meant for. He's absolutely right. This is originally what it was meant for. I would see Ozempic commercials on MSNBC like 500 times a day. It's a godsend to actual diabetics because that's what it's for. People who abuse it to lose weight deserve the side effects. Vintage Barry Hayes. I agree. That's exactly right. That's not. He's not meant. It's not a weight loss drug.
Yeah, great job, Barry. He's good. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bon. Go ahead.
No, that's a very good point. But Robin comes in then and then does her crazy This is a great crazy Robin moment where she's got an anecdote. I'd love to know where she got
I
this.
have talked to some people who are on it, and one woman was telling me her daughter made some cookies, and she tried. Her daughter wanted her to taste the cookies she had made, and she took a bite of the cookie and threw up on the floor.
What a great guess.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Yeah, I was
Uncle
just like,
Jed.
well, is it really worth it?
No.
Uncle Jed, we got bad news. Oprah just ate a cookie.
And then Howard did this cowboy thing for like
he can't do comedy.
ages. He kept doing the same.
We got bad news. Oprah just ate a cookie, and now she's shitting her brains out. Uh-oh, we're going to get sued.
And that music just kept coming back.
What a gifted mimic, right, Bon? What a gifted mimic. In case you didn't realize, that's a Jew from Rockville Center doing a Kentucky accent. In case you didn't think that was Timothy Oliphant and fucking Justified, that's how we're doing. Just some great posts. Kathleen writes, so I guess all people with small noses and normal chins and pretty faces should be angry at plastic surgery. That's the same exact concept. Abe Rizzo says that's how diabetic medicine works for type 2 works. You shit the sugar out. I'd rather live on the toilet than eat a blueberry and an almond every day. Agreed, Benjamin. There's so much to read now on the toilet with tablets and cell phones. And I agree. I read Bill Maher's book on the toilet. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all right.
Agreed.
That's it for the show, though. Let's get
That's
done with that. Yeah, what a crappy Wednesday.
That's the show, guys. That's the show. He made $1 million today doing that shit. That's the man who made. He made no exaggeration. He made almost $1 million doing that show today. That's what he gets for individual shows. $1 million.
That's what. Yeah, you guys are paying for this as well. Keep that together. Everyone listening, you're paying. If you are like, whoa. But you came through with the goods, my friend, because you've got such great clips for the computer, and I always.
I tried to tie it in what I was reading today in the mockery thread, and so I saw names. I saw Fred. I saw Mehmet. I saw Gary, and I just what can I get? Who something salacious, and a great old clip of Scott's rest in peace, Robin Salem, who eviscerates Ronnie when he robs the cradle and dumps Bonnie. And
yes, should I hit that in a sec?
We never play that. I'm just giving you. Yeah, I'm just going over what I remember. I wish I remembered that Chris Rock clip though with the monitors because I remember wanting to get it and I forgot when I went to go grab the stuff.
I'll make it official.
Cleaning out the computer.
Okay, so do you want to go to that? Should we do that Robin Salem versus Ronnie?
Yeah, let's do that because it's probably the strongest one, and I don't think most people have heard it. It's about 12 years ago. It's when Ronnie dumps his wife, Bonnie, and Robin Salem is not having it. And she's like really good friends with Ronnie's ex-wife. And he goes, Shuli's kind of in this. So they go to the stupid, the Hack Pack. And so Robin Salem says they all sucked. They're all horrible except for Sal. And she just eviscerates them for everything. And kind of Scott's there and he's all meek and he doesn't want to say anything.
And when we all listen, just listen to how different the vibe is.
Yeah,
this isn't
it's angry and authentic and.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Tamara Francois.
Yes, Robin. Where are you going? You're checking out? I'm just kidding. How are you? Good. A long time no speak. What's happening?
Long time no speak. Hi, Robin.
Hi there.
They're all full of shit. The show stunk. It absolutely stunk. Ronnie yells like a stupid lunatic.
Right.
He does nothing either, Ronnie. I say we replace it. Sal was great. Yeah. I really did. We didn't say Sal wasn't great. Ronnie, keep your mouth shut, you little Napoleon. He does not speak properly.
Oh, Ronnie.
Ronnie. After the fact. So they're all full of shit.
Ronnie,
I'm calling them out.
do you not get along with? Do you not get along with Scott's wife?
No, I don't get along with her.
You don't like her?
No.
Why?
I didn't say I don't like her. She doesn't like me.
She does.
I can tell you. I do know. She doesn't like me. I know she doesn't. She thinks I'm a bad influence on Scott. Well, listen. You're an asshole. Yeah, I'm an asshole. Okay, Robin. You really want to start this now, huh?
Fun.
You really want to start
Yeah,
this?
man.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Sorry.
I never called you up on stage.
Yo.
No, I was going to say, how underutilized was Robin Salem on the show? Knowing
Sure.
who we hear now. She should have been on instead of Scott and everything. So she's afraid. I'm just going to give a little context. She's afraid that Scott's going to go down the road that Ronnie went down. That she somehow knows he's trying to maybe get her to divorce and he's going to dump her and try to do a Stephanie thing. So she's nervous that Scott's going to go down the Ronnie. He's taking him down the Ronnie path at these fucking hack pack fests.
Nice. Good context.
I'm ready. When you guys called me up on stage, I went there. I never called you up on stage. How's that?
What is it you feel?
Sat there with a mean mug on your face the whole night. Oh, kiss me and tuck it. Yeah, kiss me and tuck it. Yeah, go back to sleep. Listen, get off my case. Don't start with me. You're starting with the wrong person. How you talk. And don't worry about how I talk. Worry about how you talk. About how Jews are. You sat there in a corner with a push on your face. What? Yeah.
Robin, I didn't know there was bad blood between you and Ronnie. I
didn't know either until now.
You feel Ronnie is a bad influence on Scott, that he could...
I didn't say that.
Oh, all right.
Oh, really? How about when we went to Atlantic City, huh? Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't even come out to the car and say hello. Do I need to say hello to you? How come? How come you wouldn't come out to the car? Why? You want to start shit with me? Come on. Why wouldn't you come out to the car? Why don't you tell everybody?
Well, let her talk.
You come out to the car?
Well, let her talk.
That's Ronnie's bit. He doesn't let anybody talk. Go ahead, I'm letting you talk now. Why do I have to? We're not good enough to say hello to? We came out to say hello, and you never even walked out of... You didn't come out. You peeked from behind the door of your house. You wouldn't even come outside. Go to Atlantic City. Because you wanted to see Rachel. Why don't you tell everybody how you didn't want to see Rachel? You did? Come on now. You want to start shit with me? Let's go. Oh. Okay, let's go. Oh, you want to hear this? Yeah, let's hear it. Your lovely wife. Okay? What? Divorce?
You hear that voice change?
Yes.
She's really firing up now.
She's holding on. Yeah, Jeremy, on. You would think she's hate woman, right? You would think hearing that voice that might be the closest to hate woman we get. Maybe she is hate woman.
Oh, I love it.
I'm pretty good at, we both have a pretty decent ear.
Yes.
And I think this chat does. Could that be hate woman? Did we crack the code on hate woman?
I might try and find a clip of Hate Woman while this is playing. Give us your thoughts in the chat.
Oh my God,
is that Hate
Jeremy
Woman, John?
Harrison. I was thinking the same thing.
You might have just come up on something, and thank you for that super chat, Tamara. Thank you, Monique.
Tamara Francois is really maybe rookie of the year in terms of commenter chatters. We are lucky.
You know what
to
that
have...
buys, John? That buys Monique a big glass of white wine.
On the plane.
Boys' night. Yes, it is macho. Elbow. I'll continue playing this. Sorry.
Okay? What? You divorced your lovely, lovely wife. Okay. Okay? What? Yeah, okay, so... Then you go with a young chippy who's half your age. I'm a bad influence, you see? Here it comes.
Bad blood.
You can do. Okay, what's that got to do with why you didn't come out? I didn't need to come out to the car to see you. Oh, okay. But don't even see Ronnie. Yeah, right, because you hide behind the door. Hide behind what door, Gina? The door of your house, honey, when we came to pick your husband up to go to Atlantic City. Listen, he ran out. You could have came with us, but no, you couldn't come with us because Ronnie's there with his young girlfriend, and Rachel's there with Richie, who you got in a fight with at the Christmas party. Okay, I don't need to start any shit with you. We already did. Let me just tell you something, dear. You're not my friend. I would never you consider a friend. There we go, you see? I don't know you, really. I only know you from the show. I do not go out with you. Oh, that's a lie. When did I go out with you? You never went out with me, ever. Once with your wife. Okay. Who's everybody? The whole crowd calls you an asshole. Oh, gee. Okay.
I don't call him that.
I'm Who's not the whole...
Robin, can I ask you a question? You brought up that Ronnie is with a younger woman. Listen. It takes two to tango. The marriage ended. You worried Scott will be influenced by Ronnie? Honestly,
absolutely not.
Right.
All right.
I'm sorry. This is the first time that any attention was brought to Ronnie robbing the cradle. So they avoided it. It kind of came up meekly, and they avoided it for a long time. And Robin Salem, because Howard's not talking about it, so Howard's acting like he's, oh, really? Did that? And it had to come up
that.
because really it's Howard that caused the wreck of Ronnie's marriage, right? It's any affiliation to this show, Howard's access, being around him, the tone of this show. It's indirectly Howard caused the wreck of his marriage. It's not so much that it's Ronnie; it's really because of Howard. So he's trying not to shine a light on it. God, I'm sorry.
He really pulls his turtle head back in these things. He's like, oh, I don't know about that.
He's playing stupid.
Pretends to be friendly. Pretends he's friends with the person who's getting crapped on. I'm friends with High Pitch Mike. I think High Pitch Mike's a great guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. I love Eric the Midget. I'm getting Hate Woman right now. I'm going to keep playing this while I cue
Vito Andolini thinks it's her too. It may not be, but it's as close as you're ever going to get. Like it's enough where someone with a decent ear, like I think we have, could confuse it for it. That's all I'm thinking of is Hate Woman now, and I'm listening to this.
And I just checked stats. We got 200 people watching now. Right now, how does that make you? Isn't that crazy, John? To think about.
I mean,
that there's actually that even if it's 50 people, I just go, man, that's 50 people.
Oh, we're lucky to have
Isn't
anybody.
that crazy?
We're lucky to have anybody. I say this on the Deafening all the time. We're lucky in today's landscape when you could listen to anything you want, how you want, and whatever you want. We're lucky to have anybody that indulge us in this. We really are.
And we love it. Thank you, guys. Everyone who tunes in. It means that's why we do it. We're not doing it for any other reason. It's just a
Should we
social
go to the phones?
thing.
Should we go to the phones?
Still, that worries me. But
I don't know. I don't know what the risk is. I don't know.
It's up to you. I can't
All right.
stop you. But keep think about it while this finishes.
Absolutely not.
Right.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well,
That's why she doesn't want him to go anywhere with me. What a joke. Why would I want to go with someone? Not you. Who wants you? I'd like to go places with him. He's not allowed out of the house.
I never said that.
Ronnie, I would never want to go someplace with you. I don't want to go anywhere with you. I'm going to tell you something. You are, to me, a dredge of the earth.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I get really turned on when there's a new
Wow.
iPhone.
That was crazy, man.
It's such an underrated fight. It's one of those things that I could never quite figure out how to work into the show. I had so many killed channels in the past, and that was on them. I don't know why it doesn't come up. It was 12 years ago, that, by the way, in the heart of the Hack Pack. Jeremy Harrelson has a great point here, too. Howard's actually really nervous that the conversation is really about leaving a wife for a much younger woman is exactly what he did with Beth and Allison, and he's afraid of that. That's right. I mean, who didn't, of course that's he's trying to deflect off of that, which is he's so good at.
Beautiful point. Oh, we got some good stuff here. Have I missed Lisa as well? Did I miss you,
Lisa
Lisa?
Stein,
I'm sorry.
great broad.
I'm trying to get this hate man up. I'm clicking buttons. I'm looking around. Lisa, thanks.
Thank you, Lisa Stein.
And David, man, you gave us money you gave Monique money last night too. You're very kind.
Kind of like a cast member too.
He's a mensch.
Yeah, he is the menchiest. We're lucky. Someone of his intellect, we're lucky that I always say, like, the Stern Show just like it destroys our IQ points. You know, it just takes chromosomes from. I cannot believe. I guess a guy like David has IQ points to spare, but I don't know what he, you know, with that brain listening to this show, I don't know what he gets out of it. I don't know what anybody gets out of it. Especially a smart guy like I just don't understand. You know, it's got to burn IQ points in someone like David.
All right, I got hate man, hate woman. I haven't listened to this, so I don't know if it's going to be exactly what we want, but I'm going to start playing it. This is Hate Woman.
Nobody's listening to you.
All right, it's getting late. We got to do news, but you want me to play that the Hate Man call?
Yeah.
All right. This is the one we were saying is our favorite.
What? It said Hate Woman on the bloody video.
Did I ever send you that, or you're going off something that's you just looked for it? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We just Bond, don't kill yourself. It's not worth it. We're just saying I'm Scott Salem's wife, Robin, rest in peace. Sounds exactly like Hate Woman, and we think it could possibly be her. You don't have to do it.
I'll get another one. We've got other clips that are long, so I'm going to be able to do that. Let's go to the next one. What do you want next, Johnny? Fred versus Jason or the Vinny finale? Favale one is cool.
I like finale better. Yeah, this is a prelude to what another Fred show would be, which we're planning on doing soon. So this is just some stuff I have saved for what could be our next Fred show, and it's just like a little bit of, it's not even that it's very much what something, and this is like I said, something we didn't play the first Fred show, and this is a prelude to what another Fred show would be. So this is Fred in these moments that nobody talks about. I guess you could play the. You want to play the Vinny one first? So Vinny Favale calls in. And this is good because Letterman stops having Beth on, and Howard's really pissed off. And I believe it's because, as my black friends say, Letterman's getting mollywopped by Leno all the time, and he's now getting serious about he can't have people like Howard's wife on. So he's trying to upgrade the guest. You can't have Howard Stern's wife, no one knows who she is, on, and the Letterman show is ghosting Beth, as it were. And so Vinny calls in to defend it, and Fred and Vinny go at it, and Vinny basically gives a lot of the insults we say all the time on the show, how nobody knows Fred's there, and he came to life finally, and Fred gives it back to him in an angry kind of exchange here, and I feel really good.
Beautiful.
And I go, I don't have an answer. I don't know. This is a horrible question. He goes, Fred wrote it. I go, well, Fred is off the game.
I had 10 you actually might sit down and think about, because any goofy question you're going to get, you're just going to make it into a joke.
There were 1,000 people there. There was no time to sit down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Let me give you a little more context. So this is just a weird thing they did. So Howard went on Letterman, and they staged the thing where Richard Christie would ask Howard questions that Fred wrote for him, and the questions sucked, and Fred wrote the questions, and Howard's annoyed at how bad the questions were, and so Vinny's like, God, what's Fred's point if he can't even do this? So Richard Christie was deployed to Letterman to ask Howard questions as he walked in to that that Hello Deli back entrance they always take.
Yeah.
And Fred wrote him the questions.
Okay.
Making it into a joke.
There were 1,000 people there. There was no time to sit down.
Vinny, I was talking. Shut the F up.
But Vinny's right. Fred,
I hate when he interrupts.
Fred, you blew that one, man.
Yeah, you blew it. Why don't you cancel Beth's more? Okay? Why don't you come up and float another lie? This proves how good he is, too. It's like in the middle of he tries, wasn't it great yesterday when you and Letterman were in the building? He's card.
Joe Rivers. I'm the king of conspiracy. You are so wrong on that front.
Okay, Ben.
So they just stopped doing everything over there. That's why.
I mean, all of a sudden, Beth sucked.
Let me just tell you, at the time Beth was doing it, we were doing Viewer Mail is when we would literally have the opportunity to do sketches like that. It's like
Vinny, stop it.
Brought out the doctor. Didn't that turn out to be a fake doctor?
What are you talking about?
I heard somewhere that the guy who...
Wait, hold on. Stop the presses.
Oh, well, when Vinny gets a little nervous when I'm telling the truth. Is that what's going on, Vin?
Fred, when I snap my fingers, you will go back to sleep.
Vinny, when you'll go back to downloading from Napster.
Yeah, that joke's funny like 5 years ago, Fred.
Yeah, Vinny, so was the Letterman show.
Okay.
Don't tangle with him.
Now you will make out with
Come on,
Mary.
fat boy, let's do it.
Come on, let's throw down.
Come on, get on the bus. Download.
Take the pencil out of your mouth, you rabbit dog.
Come on, put another cheeseburger in your mouth, you fat
You
little...
still wear that hat on your head? Oh,
No, do you still wear those big Sandsville pants? Those big Sandsville pants that stretch?
What?
The Sandsville pants that stretch. You know the Weeble pants that you wear?
The ones with the scope.
Bird bath. Vinny, you got a... And you're a dodo, so... Want to keep going, Vinny?
Like a bird bath.
This is how your stand-up career went.
Fred, are you getting paid by the joke now? Is that why you're talking?
This is how your stand-up career went, just like your songwriting career.
My stand-up career? I never had a stand-up career.
That's what I heard. You're funny now.
I'm speechless, Fred, like you are most of the day.
And you're witless like you are in the Letterman meetings.
Oh, good comeback.
Vinny,
What are you doing?
Vinny put in a pool. That's all.
Like the Letterman meetings, you don't want to think
You
that.
look like Jesus walking across the water.
All right. What's that, Fred?
Like the Letterman meetings, he doesn't want to think there either. Let's see, what's the Beatles for?
All right.
Ringo played the
All right, now it's getting ugly.
Vinny put
All I want to know is why Martell was crying, my God.
She was crying. She said,
Hey, do people ever do that? They yell out, they're not going to blow your cover.
Right, yeah.
yeah. Hey, don't worry about it.
I'm not going to blow your...
You were there. Vinny,
I
get to
got
bed.
I gotta go.
All right, later.
I'm going to go do nothing.
I gotta go do nothing.
Vinny's got to go swimming in his puddle. It looks like a toad.
You know, I wasn't even being angry about the whole Beth situation at Letterman. I was just pointing out fact.
But I wasn't kidding, though, about the doctor thing, and he got really defensive.
Well, but I'm saying I wasn't even saying it like, okay, look, for whatever reason, childish.
I tend to believe what you're saying, because Letterman's that kind of guy.
I mean, I think Letterman, for some reason, sees me as an adversary.
I think he sees everybody as an adversary.
You know, and it's almost like, well, let's say...
Bon, I was thinking this.
Yep.
I wanted to bring this up yesterday. Part of Howard's divadom and kind of how he's been able to, when he used to go on Letterman, he used to use Letterman as a template for what he wanted. So if you remember through the terrestrial years, he would go, oh, Letterman has the hallway clears. That's what I'm going to do. I'll make fun of it, but that's what I really want. So eventually he started having hallways cleared. He had 112 Productions own his show, so he made all the money. He has no account, like Letterman had no accountability. He can't be fired. He has no human resources. Do you know how fast in this day and age you get for preying on interns and PAs like Letterman did in that whole saga? How could you possibly remain on the air after your ratings, you're getting clobbered by Leno every night? So Howard used the Letterman show as the template for what he wanted all those years. He would do it, once every few months, and he would look around and go, "Oh God, this is what Dave gets. This is what I want." And if you look at it, his stint at Sirius is exactly what Letterman had at CBS.
Wow.
He tailored everything. I always think that
That's an interesting point. That,
his show.
Mm-hmm. We missed you. You dropped out for a second.
Oh, it started with 112 Productions owning the show at Sirius, that he has no human resource accountability or ratings or anything like that. That was his dream, is to have zero accountability, like Letterman had. Letterman was the first guy I know of in big-time show business that had no accountability. He was immune to human resources and ratings. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, and Howard's, God, desperate for it. And how
Thank you, A. Brizzo.
Yeah.
Thank you, A. Brizzo. Thank you, Frank Zen. There's
Oh,
Marta
yes.
with a cameo appearance. We love when Marta shows up. She had the no one hates Howard more than Fred. I agree with that, Marta. I agree with that. It's palpable in his voice. I think that's why he never goes to an event. That's why Fred never goes to a wedding. That's why the Norrises don't even go to the Christmas party.
Yeah.
Right? He lives like a couple miles away from Howard. He's like been to his house once in the Hamptons. To work with someone that long and have no relationship is the strangest effing thing.
And you're right, Alexander III. I mean, Artie was like for
feels
all of
like
his faults that people make out about Artie, he had a lot of faults, but still when he was cranking it out, like John, like you've always said, John, like when they first went there, he was so upbeat. When they go and play that basketball match, remember, he played the bet that he could beat...
Oh, you're talking about the Johnny Mudman? Are you talking about Johnny Mudman?
I can't remember. Didn't Artie play a chick?
Yeah, in Vegas. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Was that later? Was that a few years into Sirius? Or I can't remember.
When Artie played the girl in Vegas, that wasn't Sirius,
Yeah.
it was terrestrial.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like
But
2004, I think.
when he did things like that, it was so interesting to
Yeah.
watch because he's
Yeah.
he's such a live character, and Howard's sunk now. Like we were talking about the other day. Get Michael Rappaport in there. I don't care. Get anyone. Get Jim Brewer in there. Just get anybody to sit in.
Rappaport's too. Brewer's an ass kisser. Brewer's like a guy. Brewer's too much of a neocon now. He's a crazy, like almost MAGA guy. So he'd never have Brewer on again. But
really?
Rappaport's too much of a loose cannon to have on. He won't toe the company line. He kisses Howard's ass, but he'll go off on stuff, and they can't trust him to be on a long form.
Gary knows what he's going to say too.
Yes.
Like Michael probably tells him, "Yeah, I want to tell Howard to go F himself," and Gary goes, "Yeah, well, okay, well, you'll only be on a minute before Howard hangs up on you." Control.
Thank you.
We've got nothing like that. Loving the comments, guys. We love the comments.
I wish we could do more shows like this where we just kind of hang out a little more with the chat. I don't know why that's such a fantasy. We certainly will. I think we should do once a week we should do a show where we just simply riff off the chat. I happen to love that, but I don't know if I'm alone in that.
I'm keen. It's so possible. We could do anything.
Jeremy
Monica's
Harrell's
given us the keys.
Fred is not good off the cuff. He's just not. He's way too hot-headed and uptight. He's been jabbed so many times. He's a nervous wreck. Yeah, and when someone's losing an argument when they start fat shaming, when they go to the fat jokes, there's nothing worse than fat jokes in an argument. It's a telltale sign the guy lost or is so threatened he's got nothing else but to make fat comments. Mm-hmm. I met Fred eating sushi in Montauk. I could imagine he'd be pretty cool, Frank Zen. Yeah, Montauk Point, Bond, and if you know the Hamptons, is basically the Hamptons. It's the end of Long Island, and it's considered like an extension of the Hamptons. It's like the very end. I believe it's what Jaws is based on with shark attacks.
That works for me. Thank you. Now I get the image. So food, if Fred was eating in a restaurant there, that's going to be expensive food if you're hanging around those areas.
Yeah, everything's expensive down there. Absolutely.
Good Lord.
Yep.
Good Lord. How destroyed Artie. He could, part-time. Well, he could have. Never thought of that in my mind. I never thought of that.
That's a great point, Marta.
Brilliant
a part-time schedule. I think he did, though. I mean, in a way, his original deal with the show was, I'm going to be on whenever I feel like. If I have anything come up TV or movie-wise, I get to take time. He took time off to do Beer League. He had kind of a part-time thing, but it wasn't like fully. I think she's right, though. His perfect schedule would be to be on, say, Tuesday and Wednesday, like Billy West did. And that might have preserved. I think there's no way Artie could subsist on today's show. There's no way he would last with what this is.
And wasn't that brilliant how when Artie went to make the movie and was taking time off, Howard would make Artie repay the time by talking about it when Artie was on. Howard was like, I'll put aside everything I'm going to talk about, and I'm just going to kill the time you took from me by making tell me about everything going on in that movie, and I'll just sit back and go, well, I didn't really want you to do this. Wasn't sure about it.
Not just private parts, but how shitty the power of the Stern Show is, like how little business Beer League did. Beer League had infomercials on terrestrial and even into Sirius for how long? And it made $500,000 internationally. So that should tell you how few listeners he had or willing to go. I think I accounted for half the box office. I saw Beer League 3 times. I did.
And it was terrible. I watched it again last year to refresh. It was garbage. And I remember Artie saying at one point during the filming, he said, they've just chucked in like another $500,000 to the budget. Yeah. And I thought, oh, do you know how much you can make a good movie for $500,000 if you know what you're doing? They made a terrible movie for whatever, I guess, $1 million.
His co-writer was for that, Frank Sebastiano. He's kind of he was like an SNL guy. He wrote for Norm Macdonald. My cousin, who kind of works in the industry, knows him. And I
Oh, wow.
remember he said they were talking, and he said, like, I can't believe what Howard's doing to Artie. He won't. And he was like, going, he enabled him. And you were getting that from like that Norm Macdonald sect. He's absolutely. And so even when Artie's not there, you're using his derelictions and addictions for material, even when he's not there. So when he wasn't there, he's still there because they're using him and all his foibles. And he knows that he has to live up to that drug-addled maniac all the time. And even when, like I said, even when he wasn't there, they were using his derelictions as a material all day, every day.
Yeah, it was.
And Artie
sickening.
hated the gay shit, Crazy Robin. You're right. No homo.
I
the
love
greenbacks.
you. Next clip, John. Should we Fred, or do you want to go Jason or Gary? Not an essential.
You want to do Gary? Yeah, the Gary stuff. Okay, so this is okay. This is the early days of Sirius when they were far more loose cannon and honest, and they had dominion and autonomy to do stuff. And they had a thing where Gary took off for some reason, and they realized that the show is just fine without him, and it works better, and he doesn't do anything. And so this isn't just Tracy Cleveland saying. Everybody's saying that Gary really doesn't. Yes, Tamara Francois. Vinny is still married to Debbie. Yes, I saw him on Facebook. I've been trying to get him on our show for a one-on-one or one-on-two, and he's still married to Debbie. And so Gary, they realized from Steve Brandano to John Hine to Jason and Will, they say Gary doesn't do anything anymore. And this is like the earliest days of Sirius, and they all chime in on it.
Beautiful. God, I'm loving these clips. Everyone in the chat, type 1 if you're loving these clips from Johnny Boy.
Turn show without Gary taking a personal day. And how did you feel about a Gary-less show today? Did it affect your work at all?
What we've learned is Gary does not need to stay home to sleep. So if that was what it was about, he would have just come to work. For me, for the most part, there wasn't much difference. I talked to Will right in the beginning of the show. I asked him if he needed, help with, with anything like this, help that Gary would give him when he's doing the segment. And Will said he got it. And Will asked me if I needed help with anything. And I said no. And that was pretty much it. Will did his thing. I did my thing. And it was all good. But,
Gary's more of a personality on the show. And he runs
that. So I just want to be clear. So what Will is saying there, the real work over there is done by Jason and Will, and Gary's sort of like a figurehead, like Ronald McDonald.
No, that's not. He's a personality.
Tonight, what's the office like when Gary's not here? Who's producing?
Is it more relaxed back there, more fun back there, Steve, when Gary's gone?
No offense to Gary, I haven't noticed any difference.
The show runs just as smooth.
Yeah, we all know what we're doing back there.
Well, there's a budget cut we can make, Rob.
Yeah, what do we need him for?
In other words, his leadership isn't required back there.
Oh, that was oh God, that was good.
Thank you, Trinity Jean. Yeah, these are things that are just like get lost in the shuffle from the old days. Nobody picked up on it. Sometimes it's the wrap-up show. And this is before Tracy shined a light on it, that Gary is just not necessary. And that's before the sleeping thing with Scott DePace as well. Thank you, Trinity Jean. Haven't seen you in there. Thank you, Trinity Jean. Thank you very much.
You know what I'm going to do for you for the first time tonight? You haven't had one tonight. It's an arm. How you feel about that? You loving your drop, John?
I'm starting to sweat. I'm so humble. I'm not worried.
I know you got all worried the other day. I listened again. I thought, what is he? I listened again. I thought you sounded so worried when I was announcing it. You deserve it. You're so bloody humble. It's just, everyone listening. When you give Sarah or John a compliment, they'll give the other person a compliment straight away. They just pass it on.
I spend 50% of my therapy sessions working on imposter complex. I really do.
If I go, John, you're doing such a great job on the deck, and then John, I go, look, I mean, Sarah's though. Sarah's working behind the scenes. So I mean, she puts so much time into the videos, and then if you have to say it to Sarah, like the other day, I said it to Sarah, what's coming up, and she just went, well, John does everything, so I'm just going to pass it to him, and I went, okay, thanks for playing along, Sarah. I built the whole thing up like, Sarah, you're going to give us the rundown on what's coming up. And she's just like, here's John to tell you. And I went, okay. Anyway, I love a beautiful girl. Let's go to, what can we go to next? Those two.
In that same vein, because it's kind of, I found it because of that clip. Steve Brandon, we talked about Howard, Howard's going, I take my employees don't leave and I take care of everybody. And people love working on the show. this is no longer allowed. This form of honesty. Steve Brandano reveals what he really made on the show, while Crazy Robin says up front how Howard gets all the money. So Howard's making $100 million a year, and this is what full-time employee Steve Brandano, who hosts the intern show, who's spinning all these plates, this is what he was making at the show at the time in the first few years of Sirius, borrowing clothes from.
Well, I guess it's not very professional to be talking about this, but like
You're well past that.
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying.
If I was living with my parents, I would be able to go out on a date. But I'm not living with my parents. I'm living in Weehawken, and I'm shoveling the driveway and putting out the garbage and stuff so that I can pay rent, just to pay rent. You know what I mean?
Dave Matthews is now $15.
Yeah, well,
and I can name like 5 others.
And because of Dave Matthews, look at my credit card right now. Have I paid you for that, Jason?
No.
Okay.
I haven't asked you for any money.
Any of the $50, any concert that's $50, you can
you don't make a lot of money. I agree, but you're not exactly like living in Haiti or something.
There is a sheet on my desk right now. Jason has seen it with how much stuff you need for rent, food, and what I pay, and then versus my check that I get twice a month.
So you sit at home every weekend and do nothing?
No, I run up a credit card bill, or you buy me stuff, and Jason buys me stuff, and John buys me stuff. Will, how much clothes have you given me? You gave me my bed. You gave me my golf clubs.
Wow.
You gave me my jeans. Yeah. Like, that's not the point. The point is everybody has helped me out around here.
Oh, that makes me feel bad for him. We make a lot of fun of him.
That's poverty, Bond. That's not poor. That's poverty.
Yeah, the bed part. I went. Oh,
he's borrowing clothes from the staffers. So Howard shut that down. That's how little he's borrowing. John Hines giving him clothes and food and everything. And they don't want that out. That was on the earlier wrap-up shows. That's how little they were making.
It's weird with a lot of them. Like, remember Shuley said that when he had to borrow money from his father to fly out there to start working there. And I'm thinking, God, these guys, there's something weird with these guys.
Yeah.
Like, what the,
Brandano went on to, and he blocks them from doing gigs outside on top of that, right? So they can't do other gigs. And they're blocking it, and then you're working him to be on. Now again, nobody's forcing him to be there, but I guess once you're locked in, he comes from New England like this. He thinks they're on the road to stardom, and I mean, for most people, it doesn't work out. This show leads to nothing. You can't segue to anything off this show.
Mm-hmm. Getting lovely comments here, John. They're all.
I know it's overwhelming.
I didn't appreciate the one about me apparently verbally. Yeah, I mean.
Or a resident Proud Boy contrarian.
Yeah, I mean, but we put it up. We're
go
not gonna
blow
hide it.
Gavin McInnes, Coos boys.
Yeah.
Go get Palacio and Gavin McInnes on fucking Kumi's.
How dare you!
They grumble. They get moody. Okay, so we've got a couple more. So Fred and Jason, because this will be brilliant. Jason can just destroy people.
Can I tell you the context in this?
I would love you to.
Okay.
Of course.
Jason wrote an article on howardstern.com about what a weirdo Fred was, and Howard picked up on it, and then they're picking through it, and Jason's explaining why Fred's a Martian in his own observations. This is like 2004.
See, this is so great. This is these are like the best fights.
Yeah, you'll never hear this again. This will never happen. This is gone. This is.
And listen to Jason, everybody. Just focus. The way Jason gets so much pleasure when he does this to people. The glee, he has that little laugh. Like, he loves destroying people. He goes.
By the way, Louis the Board Op is in this. A rare appearance. And one of my favorite people in the history of the Stern Show, Louis Castillo, the Board Op. I think the only Hispanic besides Stern. I don't consider Stern.
And he doesn't like Fred, isn't that right? Yep. He comes in and yes, this is archival.
He actually goes after Jason here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank you for
Jason,
painting.
who works here, wrote an article for howardstern.com, an original article on what goes on during the commercial breaks. A lot of it has to do with how Fred disappears during the commercials every break and claims to go to the bathroom, but no one could possibly pee that much. Fred yells out, 20 seconds, minute and a half, and then you see, Fred used to play the commercials.
Right.
And I stopped Fred from playing the commercials. I said, you're kind of not available to me when I
Oh man, I just remembered they followed it, Fred and stuff, and he
we
disappears. This is so great.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for interrupting, and I
No,
just
that's
have to
okay.
say this is epic.
Every night we do this show, we talk about what does Fred do. So this is Jason giving a play-by-play at every moment of what he actually does.
They followed him.
Yep.
And I stopped Fred from playing the commercials. I said, you're kind of not available to me when I discuss stuff during the show.
Yes.
But Fred, every 10 seconds, goes to Luis. Hey, Luis, how much more time? How much more time? How much more time? And Luis even avoids Fred's
His phone calls?
Because every 10 seconds he says how much time is left. So and then Jason describes how Fred talks during the commercials to me.
Really?
Mumbling. I said, that's why I have to turn down his microphone. You talk during commercials? I'm not sure what he's referring to. Like you go like, yes, right, that's right. Yeah.
You mean while you're
That's
reading?
been brought up before. Yeah, what is going on with that? Don't know.
You don't know.
But I mean, it is a radio show. Yeah. And I'd like to keep your microphone up in case you have something we want to have on here.
But wait a minute,
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize.
You got to read Jason's article. It blows the lid off Fred. Oh, there he is drinking. That's why he pees so much. What do you drink during the show? I drink coffee. How many glasses? I get 2 cups during the show. And that's all you drink, or you drink water too? No, I don't drink any water. Well, why pee 8, 9, 10 times? You just do. You really have to? Yeah. Do. You really have to? Is that true, or you just feel like stretching your legs? Well, that's part of it too. But you go to the men's room under the like. Jason says he worked at a job. He's not a smoker, but he began to resent that smokers got to get a break.
Right.
Every hour or so. So he started to go out and fake smoking so he could have a break. So he started to go out, and he feels Fred goes to the bathroom.
Faking the bathroom.
But he doesn't have to do that. Yeah, I'm done too in the article about my incessant teeth picking and how I slobber over my lunch.
Yeah.
No, but I'm the focus. You are the focus, Jason.
I didn't originally go out to make Fred the focus of the...
No, but somehow it did, didn't it?
It did. I started writing your paragraph, and it just kept getting...
Tubby.
just kept getting bigger and bigger.
With your baby Huey body.
Or you started to realize that what a liar Fred is. That he can't even tell the truth about stupid shit like this, subtle little things he can't own up to. Fred is as big a liar as he never tells the truth about anything. Crazy Robin is right in so many ways here. Shuli, right? One of the rare moments that we like. Dan, the song parody man, had to front and fund Shuli coming to New York. That's how little the show.
Yeah.
And Shuli was working on. He was the news. He was sitting in on Jay Thomas's show. He was sometimes sitting in on the Superfan Roundtable. That's the show that puts you in poverty. And Howard made $100 million during that time. That Artie actually got them the bonus.
Yes, and the scumbag weasel surely threw.
And
Dan
we know
under
how
the
much you
bus.
love Dan, the song parody man, the Poon Hound.
Oh my God, I'm loving it.
That was when you first did our show. I couldn't believe how much you loved Dan, the song parody man.
Oh, Monique stopped me during it.
Yeah,
she goes,
you were
"Who
obsessed
is
with him."
this?" And I was,
She
and
didn't
you
know
were
who
like,
he was or
No, this is the classic. This is the guy. This is classic. And I was like, you have to play this. And I think she gave us the benefit of the doubt, but I was like, who is this woman?
Wow, Tonecott 89. He goes, Jason Kaplan actually went to my high school. Nobody knew who he was until he wrote an article in the school paper bashing jocks and goths right before he graduated. Jesus, that's so funny. Hey, Tonecott, do you have that saved anywhere? Is there any way that's I figured Jason probably graduated high school in 1997-ish. Is it possible we can look that up? I would love to read that. That's so good.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Tonecott. Email it,
Thank
do
you,
whatever you
David.
got to do. Oh my God, that's so great. And thanks, Crazy Robin.
Oh,
This is why cleaning out the computer is so freaking valuable. It's why,
Thank you, Crazy
yes,
Robin.
it is.
G Canada
We
brings up a great reference here, Bon. Remember Shuli?
Really?
He
I find that hard to believe.
He stole
Sorry.
headphones at the airport because he was so broke.
Yeah, he did.
That's exactly the same time frame. Raspberry High School, class of 97. I got it right. Jesus, thank you, Tonecott.
Scumbag Shirley.
Roxbury boys.
Sorry, John.
That's okay.
Getting bigger and bigger.
With your baby Huey body.
Jamie.
I think we found the new John.
I think so. The weird thing, they'll respond to whatever you're saying.
Yeah,
So if you're saying like dial mattress rules, they'll go,
And then I tried to get... Just when did you become a dick?
Luis avoids Fred.
Well,
Right.
You know why I can't hear Fred and why I can't communicate with him? Because I gotta hear his laugh, his cackle about every little joke that goes on here.
Trying to get ahead. Yeah. I've witnessed Luis ignore Fred. He sits at that headphones and watches Fred's voice come out and laughs at it. Going, I'm not answering that. Well, it's true. I mean, how many times
I'm
can...
not gonna say it never has happened. There have been.
I'm going to write the article of all articles about Jason Suck-Ass Kaplan. Where are you? Come on in.
Mr. Apple Polisher.
Jesus.
I got this for you, teacher. Look at me.
Brutal. And Fred takes it so badly. Like, after the show, he'd be so pissed
unfunny.
off.
He's so unfunny. I have to give context to this, too, as well. This is Jason's first week on Lexapro.
Lexapro.
Yeah, I remember
rant.
the title I wrote. It was a Lexapro-infused rant. Yeah, so this is the first week he's on, which is, Crazy Robin knows the Lexapro landscape. It's a mood enhancer.
Yeah, so he became more confident.
Became more
Jason
confidence pills. Right. Confidence pills.
God.
What's left?
It's iconic clip. Mehmet, we did that.
Gary versus Mehmet?
Did we do that?
We did not do
No.
that. We did not do that.
Intro at Johnny Boy.
We've played this before, and it bears repeating a million times. Mehmet and Gary clearly hate each other. So Mehmet comes on, and he exposes that Gary shakes down guests to try to get Jackson a fucking job. Jackson Delabate has worked on, he's with Netflix now, and some weird, I don't know if he's mailing DVDs out, or he was on the Kimmel show as a PA. He was, and I think Zoss Rapin got him a job at one of the music companies they're still afloat as a PA. So they're passing him around with this Nepo baby bullshit. And Jackson Delabate, by the way, is a clear example of head trauma in high school football. And he tried to get Jackson a job with, you can take stabs in the chat at who this is. The easy answer is Kimmel, but I think it's Bradley Cooper because it's an A-list star. Kimmel's an easy access. It's something beyond Kimmel, and it sounds like a movie star. And who regularly, you got to remember, Bradley Cooper went to the Obama thing with Gary and Ross Zapin, so he has some weird relationship with Bradley Cooper.
That crazy?
That's my guess. That's just my guess.
Who would want to hang out with Gary? Good Lord.
Affy says that Lexapro has hints of cocaine in it, like Adderall does.
Here we go.
Listen, I have a beef with Mehmet, and I'll save it for the real show. And Mehmet and I, it's something that happened, 3 or 4 years ago. It was kind of fucked up. And I sat Mehmet down and talked to him about it. And Mehmet was working here about 6 months and was lucky to be here for a variety of reasons, which he knows, okay? Yeah. I was, sometimes when people come in the morning that are guests on the show, they're big fans of the show. And sometimes they say, hey, how's everything going? And I'll say it's good. And they go, how are your kids doing? Sometimes they ask me that. Yeah. So there was a big celebrity came in. He said, how's your kid doing? I said, he's doing great. He's working at this place. Right. Mehmet walked by. He's been working here 6 months now. I'm theoretically his boss. Right. Mehmet walks by. He thinks he hears something he didn't hear. And he goes and tells everybody that I was trying to get my son a job through the celebrity. It gets back to you. Yeah. You're fucking pissed. Right. I have to go and explain that is not what happened. And I just want, you should know, this is what you deal with. This is a guy, we're all family. He'll throw you right under the fucking bus. Wow. He has zero respect for anybody. No, where you should have come. Yeah, I mean, he really tried to fuck me. There's no other way to explain that except I'm going to go and fuck Gary. You remember this? Yes, you do, because we sat down and talked about it.
Well, I do remember that. I remember that literally. Look, I don't remember going down that way. I remember literally everyone talking about what you said. In the
No. You were the one who walked by. It emanated from you. There was no everyone. You were the person who started the rumor.
No, see, this is real life. This ain't no cowboy.
If anybody else felt that they heard this, please come in now.
Did your kid get the job as a result of you pitching this celebrity?
My son was already working at a place.
I know. I'm busting balls. So, Mehmet, Gary's beef.
Somewhat. First of all,
just say, what were you trying to do? Get points for yourself by fucking me over?
Wait a second. First of all, that's just what people do around here. But anyways, hold on. Someone told me because the entire back office was talking about it. You can believe me or not.
I don't believe you.
It's the truth.
I don't believe you because no one's ever come forward and said that. I don't believe you.
You know how people.
I don't believe you.
You know how people are around here.
Yeah, so what happened, Mehmet? Jason mentioned, did you think it would be funny? You got very upset.
Right.
Had a conversation. I had to explain myself. But this guy's fucking barely works here. What other job do you go in where you could just go fucking be a dick to your boss?
Yeah. It's a weird work environment because we're...
That makes it a little worse. You were lucky to be here. You know why you were lucky to be here. And then you're going to sit and try to fuck me over? What the fuck is wrong with you?
That is not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Isn't what happened.
That makes it...
That bit's the harsh part there. You know why you were lucky to be here. That's pretty... That's
what do you
full
think?
on.
We never really figured out what he meant by that. Lucky to be here, meaning what? Gary did him a favor. He has some weird HR thing that should have gotten him fired. Like, what does he mean by that? We never got the full story by that. But David's right. Gary's such a bad track record with being a glommer and never learning his lesson in any way. And I believe Mehmet 100% too. You know it went down. Gary's whole dream is glomming on, going to concerts, using the show. And they call him swagabooey. He loves all the things you can get. And he's probably been doing this for years. He's also nervous that the show is going to go away. So Howard keeps teasing that he's going to leave and retire. It had no reason to go on even at that point. So especially those tired years, that's like 2019 or something. So it should have been over. And Gary's nervous he won't be able to use the show to get his kids a job. There's no question that happened. No, go.
I'm loving it.
Because we're...
That makes it a little worse. You were lucky to be here. You know why you were lucky to be here. And then you're going to sit and try to fuck me over? What the fuck is wrong with you?
That is not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Isn't what happened.
So where's the parade of people coming to your defense that are saying that it wasn't?
You know how it is around here. First of all, they would be sitting.
I don't know how it is around
here. They would be walking up to the chopping block right now, which I.
Oh, now you're the moron.
Who told you that Gary was doing this?
I honestly don't remember, but what I do remember clear as day is it was the talk of the office that morning.
You started it.
No, it wasn't because it was really it was a nothing event. I mean, this is years ago. I can't believe he's held on to it like that.
Hold on a second.
Interesting that they're saying.
What year was that, right?
You,
yeah, and that was like years ago.
Who
so
told
he's been
you this?
Holding on. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it could have been anyone in that office. I wouldn't. JD could do it. Benji, I wouldn't put it past anybody to talk. Robin could have told anyone.
Well, I mean, that's classic Jason Kaplan, right? I mean, he's Iago.
Yeah, man.
Othello. He's gonna stab him in the back because he wants his job. My first instinct is to say Jason. That the no on that show is embarrassing Howard to his celebrity friends, and doing that's the. I'm sure it's the first thing they read the riot act to new employees or interns is Howard's the star of the show. Leave him alone. The celebrities are for him. Don't ask them for anything. Don't talk to them. And Gary broke the cardinal rule. Vaughn, I'm going to send you a picture of why I think this is Bradley Cooper. This is an Obama press. They have the press dinners. I forget the term for that. And so this is Gary sitting at This is Gary sitting at Bradley Cooper's table with Zoss Rapin. And so that made me think that was Bradley Cooper, who I believe started a production company at that point.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking.
I don't know. If you see, it's in the private chat at the second one. I just gave you like stills of them if you could see it.
Yep, I'm just getting.
Okay.
Thank you to Trinity Jean. Thanks. Very kind.
That is another match. What do you say? I'm sorry, I'm looking at the correspondence dinner. Thank you, Tamara Franco. Leave it to a Canadian to get the U.S. correspondence dinner when I couldn't think of my brain fart. My stupid walnut-sized brain losing chromosomes listening to the show. I can't pull out something like the correspondence dinner, which I should get right. Thank you, Tamara. And substitute of the year, Crazy Robin. And they all got it in 1 second. And they have no options anymore, Marie. You see it? I don't know if you could pull up the...
Oh, yeah, I'm bringing it up in a sec. We've got the gang, like we've got the perfect crew on for these kinds of things where you ask questions, you're like, and everybody's giving excellent opinions. It's just like hanging out with friends. It really is.
Johnny Meyer's right. You know, how many times has Gary shaken down the Letterman crew when he goes there? Trying to get himself a job. And Gary's worried about himself, not just Jackson. I do think he easily should have enough money to retire on, but he's always worried about the next star fuck. So he's really worried about himself and Jackson and Lucas.
Great point.
Benjamin had a theory. Davi loves quoting Baby Benjamin. Davi, you love quoting Benjamin. Benjamin had a theory. Lucky to be there when you covered this when it first aired. I'll try to find it. He should have been fired. He's been on speak. Lauren Marie says, how do people stay at that workplace for years and years and years? It's so toxic. It's crazy because they've never worked anywhere else, Lauren. They don't know anything else, and nobody else has no accountability for human resources. So they figure the money that they don't make, the easy parts about it, and how nothing that you can't have what they have anywhere else, and they just can't transition anywhere else. This show doesn't translate to anything else in show business. So there you go. That's my theory. If the chat wants to weigh in as who you think this celebrity is, I'm going with this. This is just my hypothesis. There's Bradley Cooper, Zoss Rapin, and Gary at the Obama.
Look at Gary's
White House
mouth. Of
correspondence
course,
there.
it's wide open, just rambling and sucking. And Gary, look at Zoss.
Right, it's
Hell,
the
so
name's got to be
funny.
a celebrity that you're worried about offending. You need him certainly more than he needs you. And Bradley Cooper has been A-list for quite a while now. It's been, God, I want to say 12, 13 years. He's been kind of the man. He's like in that top tier of movie stars now. And that's a guy you can't afford to lose. I'm going with that. And he's a conduit to this whole side. Maybe it's an Obama booking we're looking at right down the road.
Oh, amazing! Yes.
I don't know if anybody caught this when it happened, but that's for my first instinct was to go to this.
Are we done? We're done with
Is
that
there
one.
anything else clip-wise that I sent you? Steve Renazizi, or you want to skip that?
Oh,
or?
Steve. No, I want to do Steve.
Okay.
I've got that ready. This is intro that because it's ready right
In
there.
my avatar, it's Steve Renazizi is an actor. He's a comedian actor who was on a show called The League, which is about fantasy football. And his claim to fame is he made up a lie that he was at 9/11. He escaped the building during 9/11 and ran down a flight of stairs while the building was collapsing. Not as bad as my lie, which I still go with, and I didn't get nearly enough attention for it, that I was at the Pentagon that day, and I'm still going to stick to that. And
oh my God!
so that became his
I've got
claim to
you.
fame. I was at 9/11. So he ran with that for years and years and years. Finally, the New York Times found that he did a podcast with the Sklar brothers, who are like this twin comedy Jason Kaplan doppelganger combination. And they found that he lied about 9/11, and the New York Times did an article on it. And then he was so shamed. He was such a lemming for Howard that he chose Howard's show to go on and talk about the 9/11 night. He's going to become the 9/11 fibber. And he chose to do Howard's show to talk about it.
Yeah, and my God, is this an awkward discussion? Whoa.
It's
really
uncomfortable times and stuff. And I thank you for coming in because I know it ain't easy. I'm sure you're nervous. Did you figure out how they figured out that you were lying about your experience during 9/11? Did you ever figure out how they busted you?
No, I don't. I got a phone call on a Monday.
It had to be either a friend or a family member knew you were making this story up about being in the Twin Towers when they came down.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only way a guy would even bother investigating this, don't you think?
Perhaps. I don't know. I mean...
because you became identified as the Tower 2 guy. The story was you were in the tower, you came out on the street, and you just avoided being killed, and you and your wife, your now wife, all avoided being killed. Your wife went along with it too, right?
Yes, she had to. I mean, when I tell you,
He dragged his wife
I was
into it.
here, and I was downtown, and I did walk across the Brooklyn Bridge, and I did witness,
as many of us did.
Many of us did, and so to me, when I took her story in a way, because she worked on the 24th floor of the financial center, and I just sort of put myself in her position.
Right.
The hurt and the pain and the nervousness that you hear now comes from because I know what I did was terrible, and I know that I hurt a lot of people.
Right.
People that that lost people that helped people survive. That's why I wanted to come on here, because I wanted to talk to you and your audience, because you're personified with New York, and your audience those are the people that truly I in my heart I feel awful that that my dumb mistake created a story that just hit a wound that should never have been touched.
You had a big sort of endorsement deal with a Buffalo Wings or
Buffalo Wild Wings,
right.
yeah.
They fire you right away, right?
Within a day or two,
right.
yes.
Nothing
and that's
makes
a pretty
Howard
good
happier than
financial situation, right? So that hurts your pocketbook, of course. The TV show stuck with you, though. Were you in fear that they might just say, hey, we're not going to work with you anymore?
We're shooting our last season. We only have a couple episodes left to shoot. And, I didn't know what I was going through. I didn't know what was happening.
Does this in some way feel like a relief? Or what are you feeling right now?
I guess in a way, because it's out now. And I don't have to kind of wait and see what's going to happen and be very cautious anymore about things. The relief is that I don't have to live with the lie anymore.
Right.
I think there's much worse lies in Hollywood. If Matthew Broderick gets to work killing 2 people in Ireland, he gets to work.
Yes.
Howard tells worse lies than that every day, right? Isn't that Howard's game? Bond, we was talking about Howard's move is he takes stories from his friends and family and use them as his own. That's what he did. He took his wife's story. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
He did the last season of the league. I'm not offended. He didn't kill anyone. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I think he's unnecessary. Don't apologize for it. Like I said, thank you, by the way, in the chat. They're giving me Affy and Tone Cod and everyone. And yes, it was a tough day for me at the Pentagon, Mr. Dangles. I got through it. My survival skills kicked in. I'm physically able. I got people out of there. I helped clear the rubble, and I'm still traumatized to this day. And I think about it from time to time. Someday I'll kind of write an article about it, talk about it. I'm still a little traumatized.
You helped them remove the missile remains.
Yep,
I
helped them heal.
Oh my God, that's a great clip. Freaking awkward. And look at Howard just loving it. Like
the thing he loved the most is him getting kicked off the Buffalo Wild Wings contract. And it's funny how out of touch Howard is. We was talking about. He doesn't know what Buffalo Wild Wings is. He clearly has never heard of it, seen it ever. He didn't know anything. He'd never heard of it. Buffalo. There's a commercial for that like every 10 seconds. There's one in every hick town, from Center Reach to Port Washington, and Howard doesn't know what Buffalo Wild Wings is. Thank you, G. Canada, 2-star general.
That's right. And thanks, Ida, for the $20, mate.
Crazy Robin, I was kind of both. I was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time. Nick Fury had me at the Pentagon that day for a meeting. I had to handle what we do with Steve Rogers, and I just got caught up in the mix. I was working for S.H.I.E.L.D. in 2001, right after Alpha Flight. But thank you, everyone, it was rough. I still deal with it with my psychologist, and time heals,
You're working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
You're working on it, though. I mean, it's a process. It's a process. As
I agree, G. Canada.
It's a process.
Overrated. Yeah, it is a process. Buffalo, it is overrated. Buffalo. I agree with
Unfortunately,
that. I'll eat him
I didn't represent myself properly on how I wanted to explain myself.
Where'd you get that sound clip?
That's Sal.
I know. That's new to your arsenal. I've never heard you play that before.
Oh, I got tons of stuff. I can just go.
Oh, I know. I don't think people
crazy.
We should have a show where you just do drops the whole time and play off.
I don't know.
I don't think people realize what you haven't unleashed yet in the arsenal. You could do video drops too. I'm starting to do that on the Depening now, where I have the video drops, and you got the one with Elaine, and I got a bunch of it with Magneto talking about guns, and it's fun. But you gotta stay on it, and you gotta stay focused because you're playing with clips. We should do a show where you just do nothing but drops.
It's like this.
And we're all, it's just so people know we're muted when he does a drop, so that's another great thing. Sarah hates it.
Exactly. I'm only doing that drop twice in a show because I know if I do it anymore, it'll be like the Beautiful Day clip where people were just like, "You have to stop going to that. You have to." They'd left the great comments. If I hear that one more time, I'm going to jump out the window. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah, Alexander the Third. It became his mantra was that he was the 9/11 guy that he was going in. But again, it's just so stupid. It's so crazy that it's actually funny. It goes off the level of being offensive, and it's just so funny that he would run with that like that. That you're just so desperate to be famous that you're looking for any mantra or angle that you cling to that. I just find it so funny. It's not. Again, he didn't kill anyone. It's kind of offensive and stuff. It's just we're so I don't know the 9/11 dry humping we do. Like I think Casey Armstrong is the real hero that day. Let's face it.
Yeah, he bailed.
Yeah, it's how
He
much
went to the
talent it took to
gym,
bail
wasn't
out of
it?
New York at that time. He's straight arming people on 57th Street like he's Jerome Bettis. Gets on the Long Island Railroad, goes back to Mount Sinai and Port Jeff. Casey is the real hero during that.
Well, here's the question that I said, you were helping clean up the missile debris because I don't know if the plane hit it. I don't think so. Because when you look at that video taken from that camera, the CCT camera, which took like 4 frames, but
Johnny, that's just instinct just took over for me. Like I didn't even see what happened. I knew that I had to act. So instinct took over. I didn't even watch the plane. I assumed it was some kind of missile attack, and I just kind of took action. And I was just getting people out of there as fast as I could. I didn't question how it happened. I didn't need to know. I'm a SHIELD agent for a reason, and I think you saw it that day. Someday the footage will be released.
yeah, you're covert.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Most possibly. Yeah, you could never.
It's classified
get into
stuff,
it.
and Nick Fury will have my head if I reveal it. But believe me, someday I'll tell the story. The video footage will be released.
Yeah, it'll be like a expose, and it'll have this kind of music in the background. You gonna riff on that?
Is that Richard Grieco's Billy Idol song? Hot in the City?
No.
Oh, it sounds like the opening theme song, The Booker. Good God.
Just dramatic quiz type music. So, John, you've announced that you were an undercover agent. You're going to explain yourself, John. How did you get involved? How did they recruit you?
Well, let's just say Joseph D. Pistone played a part in that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
One of your heroes.
People. Yeah.
A god.
All right, Bob, let's wrap this up.
Yeah,
we're at
let's
2.5 hours, which is a long one. Thank you, Lauren Marie. You see that at the end. And do we miss anyone that was generous enough to donate to our little shit show? Ida Greenbacks, as usual. Thank you, everyone. Go ahead, Bon. You want to end this?
Yeah, I'm just going to whack a few of these up.
That's such good music. But that sounds like the opening to Booker, right? Grieco's Hot in the City, that Billy Idol song.
Win arms money. Yes, I like that. Oh my God.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, this is incredible. This is a marathon compared to what Gunk will be next week, guys. That you'll be done. I think
the offer still stands on our Depening Patreon to sit in with Sarah. She wants Crazy Robin so bad for 90210, and so do I. And the 21 Jump Street, Seinfeld's probably the big one people know the most, and Golden Girls. And we're going to add to it. What the hell do we say we're going to add to it soon? I forget. There was another show we want to bring in. Oh, well, whatchamacallit? Chaka Khan wants to do Melrose Place, which is my my ringtone.
That'll be a hard watch. Melrose Place. It's a pretty slow show, but look, we are magic. Okay.
Thank you, Crazy Robin. Thank you, G Canada. Thank you, Lauren Marie. Thank you, Johnny Meyer. Bon, you want to end this shit show? In your own special way, you
dissolved into the intimacy of being God's favorite.
That's.
Oh, I thought you were going to play the full thing with her.
No, that's all I had of it. I don't know.
Okay.
I got to get out of this.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Emily Stern, most of all, for being really the highlight of the show. Keep them coming, Emily. We'll be there for you. We'll keep playing them. You are everything right about Allison Stern, about Howard, about Long Island, about Maryland, and music.
And you guys get your Monique back next week, guys. So that's us saying...
Later. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging with us tonight. Please join us for any further discussion at RadioGunk.com in the forum section. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RadioGunk. And don't forget to like this and subscribe to us and hit that little bell so you know when we're doing a new show. Thanks.